In nationwide news at this hour, the Police High Command has announced a major shakeup of its senior officers.
Former EPOC Chair Keith Duncan welcomes news that promised Enhanced Security Measures Act could come this year.
He's urging both the government and the opposition to avoid political gamesmanship and to pass the act.
The government of Jamaica and the opposition, especially in this election year, should resist the political upmanship.
Capri director says the ultimate solution to curbing crime is ridding the country of squatter settlements.
The ultimate solution is to remove the conditions in which gangs are able to create themselves and recreate and reproduce themselves.
The Transport Authority will start motor vehicle examinations on January 6.
In news from the rest of the world, Dr. Keith Rowley announces that he will not run in the 2025 general election.
President-elect Donald Trump will be sentenced in New York hush money case next week.
In headline sports, a former world 100-meter champion is arrested in Miami and slapped with charges of alleged battery.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the government has hailed the near 19% drop in murders last year as outstanding. The Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, will join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to the 19% drop in murders for 2024? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, half a century ago, the nation was pondering how to fix the deteriorating road network. The issue persists today. How can it finally be resolved? Veteran journalist Franklin McKnight, Professor of Planning and Public Policy at UTEC, Carol Archer, and Associate Professor in the Faculty of the Built Environment at UTEC, Dr. Glendon Newsome, will tell us.
At 7, the St. Anne Police are advising the public that traffic and security arrangements are being made for the intimate concert set to be held at Plantation Cove on Saturday. We'll hear from St. Anne's Bay Mayor Michael Belnavis.
We'll have all these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio JM.com, and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Friday afternoon, it's Friday, January 3, 2025.
News at 5 is brought to you by Fostrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The former chairman of the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, Keith Duncan, is welcoming news that the country could soon see the promised Enhanced Security Measures Act, ESMA. Mr. Duncan believes the ESMA is one area where both political parties have some level of agreement.
We welcome the Prime Minister's commitment to have the long-awaited Enhanced Security Measures Act completed. I do believe that the government of Jamaica and the opposition are closely aligned around removing major violence producers from communities. Opposition leader Mark Golding has recommended pre-detention as a tool to do so, while the state of public emergencies, as utilized by the security forces, has become a lot more targeted in their approach to removing violence producers from off the streets.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in an article on Thursday, hinted at the ESMA in 2025. He stated that it is essential due to what he calls the opposition's inconsistent stance on the states of public emergency as a long-term tool for violence reduction. According to Mr. Holness, the legislation will eliminate reliance on short-term political approvals, providing the security forces with the clarity and authority they need to dismantle violent networks decisively. The Prime Minister also boldly suggested the country will this year see murders reduced to less than 1,000 for the first time in multiple decades. Mr. Duncan also served as president of the private sector organization of Jamaica, where he spearheaded the Project Star Social Intervention Initiative. He's calling on the government and the opposition to avoid political gamesmanship to pass the ESMA.
The government of Jamaica and the opposition, especially in this election year, should resist the political upmanship and work constructively to get this Enhanced Security Measures Act completed in the best interest of Jamaica. This should be done as a major priority, as these enhanced measures can lead to the removal of violence producers and by so doing reduce major crimes and murders and save the lives of our brothers and sisters who live in fear, especially in these gang-infested communities.
Keith Duncan, the chairman of the Fiscal Commission Advisory Board.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the Crime Monitoring and Oversight Committee, Lieutenant George Overton, is welcoming the Enhanced Security Measures Act, ESMA, as another useful tool in the toolbox. But he says its effectiveness will still require some level of buy-in from the opposition.
It would require some level of agreement with the opposition, and certainly, if you're not going to have a buy-in or an understanding, then, what's the point? Because, may not be now, but someday soon, the opposition may have the shoe on their foot as well. So it should be something that can be agreed and should be functional.
Mr. Overton is also praising the recent reduction in murders. The country recorded 265 fewer murders in 2024 when compared to 2023. That's a reduction of also 19% overall. Still, Mr. Overton is calling for more sustainable initiatives that will survive changes in the administration.
We are seeing positive indications by a reduction in the major crime. Year over year, we have had 2 successive years of decline, and if you compound them, it's fairly significant. Nowhere near where we ought to be, but certainly it's heading in the right trajectory. What for me and for the stakeholders in the agreement, it's that we want something that is sustainable and something that will transcend any change in minister, any change in government. And that's what the agreement is all about, that we agreed certain amount of initiatives that will give us a sustained reduction in crime and violence.
George Overton, Chairman of the Crime Monitoring and Oversight Committee.
The ultimate solution to curbing crime is ridding the country of squatter settlements, which are considered the breeding ground for gang recruitment. That's the view of Director of Research at the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, CAPRI, Dr. Diana Thorburn. She was reacting to the near 19% reduction in murders last year when compared to 2023. Shalois Smikle has that story.
1,138 murders were recorded up to December 28 last year. That's 259 fewer homicides when compared to the corresponding period of 2023. While welcoming the decline, Dr. Thorburn noted that 70% of the murders recorded were gang-related.
It's very clear where that reduction has come from. It's come from the decrease in the number of gangs in Jamaica. We've gone from 350 gangs in 2016 to 170 today, and it's significant. But we're still very high up there. We're still on the top of the world's murder rate. 70% of murders are gang-related. Another 20% are indirectly related to gangs. If we take out even just the 70%, Jamaica is back where it was in 1962 at a murder rate of 4, which is below the world average.
According to Dr. Thorburn, many of these gangs are based in informal communities.
We have thinking about more structural changes. The political type changes can be done in 5 years. And when we talk about political changes, we're talking about the way in which the communities where gangs are based, where they have safe havens, where they reproduce themselves. If you look at the communities where gangs are sourced, including where they get their recruits from, these are largely informal communities, meaning that the people who live there do not have legal tenure to where they live. Many of them are government housing communities. Many of them are capture land settlements.
Dr. Thorburn says the ideal solution to continuing the downward trajectory in crime is to regularize informal settlements across Jamaica. She says this can be achieved in a single election term.
What we have not done is address those systemic issues of informality. The ultimate solution is to remove the conditions in which gangs are able to create themselves and recreate and reproduce themselves. That is the ultimate solution, and that is what lies in formalizing the communities where the gangs are based. That's the ultimate solution, and that can be done in 5 years. And this is already in our 2013 National Security Policy, which Professor Clayton himself wrote. You cannot deal with the issue of gangs unless you deal with the issue of informal communities. That is something that can be done in one election cycle if we're serious about it.
Shaloy Smichael for Nationwide News.
Head of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF Corporate Communications Network Senior Superintendent Stephanie Lindsay, is urging Jamaicans to stop making prank calls to the police emergency numbers. SSP Lindsay says there are times when prank calls create a backlog, preventing persons with real emergencies from getting service.
But we find that at the 119 emergency center, we get a lot of prank calls. So when the children are left at home unsupervised, they call 119. Adults will just be mischievous and they call 119. And what it does, it prevents a legitimate emergency from being responded to because there's a queue. So 119 never gets busy. So if you have for argument's sake, you have 20 calls on the queue that's being addressed, and you have 20 prank calls coming in. All the other calls behind that, they're not going through. It's ringing to you, but it's not going through because you're clogging up the system.
She adds that despite innovations dedicated to increasing the efficiency of the JCF's hotlines, prank calls still have the power to disrupt the flow of information.
Because when you are trying to save a life and you're trying to get some assistance for a loved one in crisis, and somebody being mischievous or just idle, abusing a resource, it is not good. And you never know how that feels until you are at the other end trying to get to 119. So sometimes you'll hear that people are not getting through to 119 and 119 not answering. It's because of, those are some of the reasons, because I can tell you that the services at the 119 emergency center, it is very efficient, significantly improved through technology and expansion. So please have the conversation with the children. Do not call 119 unless it is a genuine and legitimate emergency.
SSP Stephanie Lindsay, head of the JCF Corporate Communications Network, speaking with the Jamaica Information Service. Meanwhile, SSP Lindsay is urging Jamaicans to ensure they call in to the hotline with emergencies worthy of the intervention of lawmen.
And of course, an emergency is not a lizard in the roof, a roach in the corner, because we get those calls. An emergency is somebody that really, really need to be assisted with. And sometimes the sisters will call and they said, we have an emergency, and they create something is happening. And when you go there, it's a lizard in the corner. Not all the time. So we want people to make the distinction of what constitutes an emergency. It's a life and death situation. We want the services of the police, and we need it now.
SSP Stephanie Lindsay, head of the JCF's Corporate Communications Network.
Now, Nationwide News understands that the Police High Command is set to announce a raft of strategic leadership changes and reassignments among the ranks of its senior officers. The changes, which will affect various divisions and specialized units, are set to take effect this month. They are being made in an effort to better utilize the existing leadership expertise across the force. They're also intended to strengthen the modernization and transformation efforts of the country's premier crime-fighting force. The adjustments and reassignments are said to be important as the JCF prepares for the challenges and opportunities this year. The changes are also aimed at improving service delivery as the force prepares to build on the 19% reduction in murders recorded last year.
The Transport Authority says it will commence motor vehicle examinations on January 6. This is in preparation for the renewal of road licenses that are set to expire on March 31. In a statement on Friday, the authority says the move is part of efforts to ensure a smooth and efficient start to the 2025-26 road licensing period on February 3. The authority says there will be no increase in licensing fees. Customers are being encouraged to take advantage of the authority's online application platform, which allows payments via Visa debit or credit cards. Additionally, customers can use the delivery service to avoid congestion at the authority's offices. The authority notes that the licenses not renewed by March 31 will become invalid as of April 1, and late fees will apply. Public passenger vehicle PPV operators are being urged to comply with all approved standards, including color coding, exterior markings, and valid motor vehicle documents to obtain a road license.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is...
It's 15 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 out west in Montego Bay.
Continuing the news, President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, Edgerton Newman, says no word has been given by the government regarding the outstanding 16% increase in fares for bus and taxi operators. The increase was to take effect on April 1 last year, but was delayed. Newman says a new timeline was promised to them by former Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark.
The transport operators across Ireland has been concerned over time with regards to the promised 16% fare increase that was deferred by the Minister and the Transport Minister earlier this year, or March, April this year. We were told by the Finance Minister in one certain way that if inflation stays below 7%, we're due to receive the increase in November of last year. Well, we are in the month of January 2025 and we have not seen anything. A word came from the Minister unofficially some months ago that we'll get a increase in the next financial year. Now, we have a challenge with that because our operational cost is going down to the ground by the second. And it is needed, the 16% is needed.
Newman also referenced the promise of a revolving loan fund for taxi operators.
What makes it worse from the Minister of Finance level is that he promised us a $200 million revolving loan program. We were so happy for it. 3%. He dubbed it ready for the road. We have not seen the light of day of that $200 million. 3%, the last person who went to, who was supposed to get a part of that funding to lend to us, they said it was 18%, right? And so, we believe that we are taken for a ride in 2024 and we need to jump off that bus in 2025 if these issues are not being addressed by government and addressed now. And we just believe that the former Minister of Finance gave us a 6 for a 9 and run. That's how we have to put it.
Edgerton Newman, President of the Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services. In October 2023, a 19% increase in fares for bus and taxi operators was announced by Transport Minister Darrell Vaz. The outstanding 16% would bring the increase to 35%.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago Dr. Keith Rowley has announced that he will not contest the 2025 general election. Dr. Rowley says he will resign before the end of the legal limits of the term.
I will not be offering myself again to represent anyone either in Trinidad or in Tobago. 45 years is a long time. I hope I would have positively impacted this country somewhere, sometime. Before the end of the legal limits of this term, I will resign this office and go off to my family.
Dr. Rowley was speaking at a media briefing on Friday, where he gave further details about the decision to impose a state of emergency in the Twin Island Republic. He revealed that the same guns were used in 2 recent murders, one outside the Besson Street police station and the killing of 5 men at Prisgar Lands. According to Dr. Rowley, the decision to declare a state of emergency was taken after the authorities received information that the same gunmen planned more killings.
It was a clear case of retaliation, and the information reaching the office of the Prime Minister on that night and from hours before, from sources that we believe to be credible, was that this retaliatory behavior is more than likely to continue because it is one group and associates seeing themselves in physical confrontation with another group or other groups. At that time, I took the decision then to get through to the cabinet members and to indicate that the government should, at this time, move with dispatch to invoke a state of emergency based on the information and the actions with which we are living. Of course, I can't prove to you that nothing was going to happen, but I can tell you that we've taken steps to make it more difficult for it to happen and easier for the police to act.
Dr. Keith Rowley, Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. President Christine Kangaloo declared a state of emergency on December 30, 2024, giving the police and defense force additional powers.
In the United States, a judge has ordered that President-elect Donald Trump be sentenced on the 10th of January in his hush money case in New York. The sentence will be handed down less than 2 weeks before he's set to be sworn in as president. Judge Juan Merchan signaled he'd sentence Mr. Trump to a conditional discharge in which a case is closed without jail time, a fine or probation, and that the president-elect could appear in person or virtually for the hearing. The hearing is scheduled 10 days before Trump's inauguration ceremony in Washington, D.C. on January 20. A spokesperson for Trump did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The case stems from Trump being convicted in May of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records related to a $130,000 payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Trump's defense had argued the case would hang over him during his presidency and impede his ability to govern.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour. The police high command is set to announce major shakeup of its senior officers.
Former EPOC Chair Keith Duncan welcomes news that promised Enhanced Security Measures Act could come this year.
He's urging both the government and the opposition to avoid playing politics and pass the act.
The government of Jamaica and the opposition, especially in this election year, should resist the political upmanship.
Capri director says the ultimate solution to curbing crime is ridding the country of squatter settlements.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
News at 5 was brought to you by Fosrich Company Limited, fostering rich customer service.
Z Jamaica Robotics Conference, Tuesday, January 7, 2025, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Jamaica Pegasus Ballroom, celebrating the achievements of over 100 students and teachers who have achieved certification. Special guest speaker, Dr. Denzel Williams. Presentation by Zebra Robotics Canada. Sponsors, Lasco, Mothers, and Optimity. Tickets available for purchase at ztechnologies.aitix.com or contact 876-880-3301 or 876-499-3157. And tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast live from the Z Robotics Conference, Tuesday, January 7, 2025, at the Jamaica Pegasus Ballroom. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Z Technologies.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. Former World 100 meters champion Fred Curley has been arrested by Miami police and slapped with charges of alleged battery Curley was involved in a skirmish with police on Friday, and he was also tasered. The 29-year-old American sprinter won bronze in the men's 100 meters at the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris last summer. He also won silver in the same event at the previous Olympic Games, the Tokyo Games in 2021. According to Miami police, Curley approached the site of an active investigation and disturbed the efforts. He expressed concern about his car, which was parked nearby. The sprinter was asked to clear the area, but he refused. Police claimed he became aggressive. He was then tased, as shown in body cam footage that was later televised on local TV channels. At the Miami Beach Police Precinct, Curley was charged with battery on a police officer, corrections officer, or firefighter resisting an officer without violence and disorderly conduct. Australia dismissed the Indian team for 185 on day one of the fifth test, but fired up Jasprit Bumrah struck with the final ball of the day to boost the tourists late on. Bumrah had opener Usman Khawaja caught at second slip for two, and then he turned to celebrate in the face of 19-year-old Sam Constas, with India thinking both batters were wasting time in what proved to be a last over. The tourists, who trailed 2-1 in the best of 5 series and need to win to retain the Border Gavaskar Trophy, had earlier tentatively edged their total on a lively Sydney pitch. They left out struggling captain Rohit Sharma, but the move did little to improve the fortunes of their top order, as Scott Boland took 4 for 31. India were 72 for 4 when Boland dismissed Virat Kohli for 17, and 120 for 6 when Rishabh Pant, who top scored with a cautious 40, and Nitish Kumar Reddy fell for the seamer in the consecutive balls. They fell to the seamer. But Bumrah, captaining India in Rohit's place, hit 3 fours and a 6 in a 17-ball 22 to lift the total, and his dismissal left time for India to have 3 overs at Australia before the close. Scores in the match so far: India 185, Australia 7 for 1. And opener Ryan Rickelton and captain Temba Bavuma crashed impressive centuries to put host South Africa in a position of strength at close on day one of the second cricket test at Newlands in Cape Town. Rickelton, who was asked to open in the absence of the injured Tony De Zorzi, struck an unbeaten 176, and Bavuma 106 as the Springboks closed on 316 for 4. It was a brilliant recovery from the host. They were 73 for 3 at one stage. Rickelton and Bavuma rescued the innings with a stunning 4th wicket stand of 235, the highest 4th wicket stand for South Africa against Pakistan. Salman Agar ended with 2 for 55, bowling for Pakistan. There's another test match also on the way. Kural Pusura, he slammed the maiden T20 international, well, it's a T20 game, and he led Sri Lanka to a 7-run win over New Zealand in Nelson on Tuesday to avoid a sweep of their 3-match series. Pereira belted 101 off 44 balls, the fastest by Sri Lankan, as they posted 218 for 5 in their 20 overs. Pereira put on exactly 100 with his captain Charith Asalanka for the 4th wicket, with Asalanka making 44. Rashid Ravindra 69, Tim Robinson 37, and Daryl Mitchell 35 all contributed to a rich Kiwi response, which just failed to overhaul the target of 211 for 7. Asalanga bagged 3 for 50, and Wanindu Asaranga 2 for 38. Cricket West Indies announced the schedule for the Bangladesh women's team's white ball tour of the West Indies in St. Kitts from January 14 to February 1. The tour will feature 3 one-day internationals and a similar number of T20 games to be played at Warner Park in Basseterre. The Bangladesh team will arrive in St. Kitts on January 14 ahead of the first one-day international scheduled to get going on January 19. The one-day series will continue with the second game on January 21 and to conclude on January 24 with the third and final game. Following the one-day series, the teams will compete in the 3-match series of T20 games January 27, 29 and 31. A strong performance against Bangladesh, particularly in the ODI series, is crucial to acquire automatic qualification to the 2025 ICC 50-over Women's Championships. However, there will still be another opportunity to qualify through the World Cup qualifying tournament scheduled a month before the event. The tour schedule includes dedicated practice sessions for both teams. Arsenal venture outside of the capital for the first time since November with a trip to Brighton in the English Premier League on Saturday. Apologies, though, because Brighton is still in the capital, so it's a London derby. Now, the Gunners have navigated their glut of capital clashes without much fuss, racking up 7 wins from 9 games. The only setback for Mikel Arteta's side has been a pair of draws with Fulham and Everton. In other fixtures, Tottenham will host Newcastle, Aston Villa welcome Leicester City, Bournemouth are at home to Everton, Chelsea will travel to Crystal Palace in another All-London clash, Manchester City, the champions, they'll entertain West Ham United at the Etihad, and Southampton will take on Brentford on England's south coast. In Sunday's game, Liverpool will take on Manchester City in the big game of the weekend, and Fulham will take on Ipswich as well. And that will do it for sports. We're going to be back, though, with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you.
The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:30.
Importers, clear customs, not your schedule. Download the JA Customs Connect mobile app from the Google Play and Apple App Stores and enjoy the ease to calculate your customs duties, search for tariff codes, track and trace your shipments, pay your declarations, and so much more, all in a click, right at your fingertips. So save time, save money. Download the JA Customs Connect mobile app today. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more information, visit jacustoms.gov.jm. JA Customs Connect mobile app, powered by the Jamaica Customs Agency. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Public opinion. Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are Jamaican. Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Are you ready for it?
Revo. Coming soon.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5 this Friday afternoon, the Mondayest Friday I've experienced in a while. It's 5:33. Welcome to the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
The Mondayest
Friday. It doesn't feel like a Friday, and maybe it's because we started work yesterday. So it's sort of,
Very well.
We're sort of recalibrating. Campbell, by the way. And may I just say Happy New Year to all do we call them in at fivers? Are they in at fivers, Dana? We'll figure
the Innan family.
We'll figure it out, Dana says. But Happy New Year to you all. Best wishes for 2025. Looking forward to your company and engagement as always. Well, you've heard it. There's been a major reduction in, crimes, but murders specifically. And Professor of Sustainable Development at the Mona campus of the UWI, Anthony Clayton, he's saying that the country would need to record consecutive years of this kind of reduction in murders before we can say that we have tamed crime. He was reacting to the 19% drop in murders reported for 2024. Last year, 265 fewer Jamaicans were killed when compared to 2023.
We would have to get a further 19% reduction next year, and then another 19% the year after that, and another 19% the year after that. And we would have to maintain that trend for 10, 11, 12 years before we could finally get our homicide rate down to where it was at the time of independence. That's the kind of progress that we have to make.
That's Professor Anthony Clayton. He was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Thursday. He says when Jamaica achieved independence in 1962, the murder rate stood at 4 per 100,000 citizens. The rate has since climbed to more than 50 per 100,000. Professor Clayton says despite the gains in 2024, Jamaica remains one of the most murderous countries in the world. He also says Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake deserves significant credit for the reduction in murders. Well, to discuss further, we're being joined by the Minister of National Security himself, Dr. Horace Chang. Good afternoon, Dr. Chang.
Good afternoon, Ricardo. How are you today? All the best of the new year.
Good afternoon, Dr. Chang. I'm doing well. And Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Dr. Chang. Let me start by asking you. So we heard from Professor Clayton. He did give us an overview of some of the things that he thinks work. You know, they talked about the reduction in gang activity, talked about the strategic investments in the JCF. From where you sit as a security minister, what are some of the areas that you would flag as being the things that we can build on if we want to sustain this kind of reduction?
Well, as indicates, we are not shouting victory. We are, I think, at this point, I'm confident we're on a sustainable downward trend. Probably the entire policy and plan of the government being executed is what gives the confidence that we'll continue on this trend and get to the level where we, feel comfortable and back to kind of numbers that you were alluded to, the 10 and 10 or below per 100,000. We outlined very early as a government, in fact it was in our manifesto, that security is a primary part of our plan in terms of achieving the kind of growth we want in the country. That was maybe the first time the political party did that. At the same time we got the government, it peaked because we were coming out of the 2010 state of emergency went down and then the spike came and we had to move aggressively. And as we indicated then, we wanted to use the strong legislative measures, and then we'd move on to a number of things that would build out in the security forces. All of them to come together. The first, I think, the building out in the manpower. There's a kind of vacuous call for put more boots on the ground. Like there are people around hanging around, you just put on the ground. We had to organize to recruit and train police officers. So we have moved from under 11,000 to now 14,000, which is the establishment. And the training has changed. We have improved their compensation, not made them rich, but we have improved the benefits to policemen, I put it that way. And they feel more motivated. I said a lot of things and training has gone on in terms of creating a whole new approach by the force, provided with intelligence services, the CIB, etc. have all done human resource investment and critical in all of this. And we see a lot of young commanding officers out there who are highly not only trained but also educated. Most of them are in double degrees, etc. That I think is the most critical element in building out the police force. But for them to do their job and for them to keep motivated, I think we have to provide them with the tools to work, which was basic stuff, the fixing of the police stations, which is an ongoing process. We have two major ones under construction, Spanish Town and Savamar, and we have the Special Operation West coming, which is all major investment. Combined, you're looking at nearly $20 billion Jamaican, and in any language, that's good money. Of course, the communication system, the technology, introduction of technology, the police force may be the most advanced Jamaican institution, public institution in terms of technology. So the comments made about cameras here, cameras is just one of the symbols on the keyboard for entering the technology screen. So it has to have the ecosystem, and we're building out the ecosystem, and we'll continue to do so till we have a complete system in place, which we are well on the way there. The mobility is critical, and how does it all work together? And of course, there's the crime prevention activity, which is not yet impacting significantly, because that takes time to be counted in the numbers. So the three things are critical, if I have, because we can now do what people are calling kind of a vacuous mode, so to speak. We can do the hotspot policing, we can do proximity policing, we can manage the highway space, because we have manpower, mobility, and communication.
So, Dr. Chang, clearly the groundwork has been done, and based on the reduction we saw for 2024, it is having an impact. Now, what are the next steps? I see where the Prime Minister has hinted towards some of the expectations for 2025 in terms of the ESMA, and he puts a bold expectation of less than 1,000 murders for 2025, and I believe the last time we did that was well over
maybe 2,000 was the last time.
Yes, well over 2 decades ago.
Yeah, it came on to 1,000 right after the state of public emergency, the big state of public emergency that the then government did. So the then government, but we had to change the government right after 2010, 2011. I think we went down to 1,999 or something like that. It's the government. But since 2000, I've been above 1,000. So we expect a target of that in 2025. It's a tough call because criminals are adjusting. But I think I'm confident with the strength of the officer corps we have in the police, the entire police force, their commitment and the skill set. And as long as we keep investing in the tools they require, which we will be doing, we'll be completing the technology side will almost be complete in that we'll get their C5 center, which is critical to optimizing the benefit of all the other things that tend to catch the eye of the public, cameras, etc., Jamaica, and so forth. The C5 center is what is crucial to ensure the communication and computerization or it can be optimized and you get the benefit from them. Because one is just technology doesn't operate in a silo. It has to be coordinated and have the appropriate backroom to work. That will be done in the course of the year. We are completing some stations, and of course, we will maintain the manpower level. And on that basis, and the mobility. On that basis, we can feel comfortable we will achieve that.
Yeah.
The below 1,000. We look towards the police. I take a lot of experts over here in coming, but the police analysis, the security training, they will look at 800 as a number that we can look at ensuring sustainability of the downward trend. Because retaliation is still a big part of the criminal network, where you use contract killers, etc.
Right.
And when you're above 1,000, then there's always pressure on the numbers going up. The view is that once we can get to 800, we will be able to keep it downwards, although the retaliation will continue. I don't think, I'm not looking to 800 next year, but we will get to below 1,000. If you look at the numbers this year, December is always a bad month, and we went to 73. I wouldn't go into the strategic response to the police because November went a bit bad, and you'll see December was the lowest since 2014 is the lowest month for a year. So not only the lowest December, maybe for about 20 years, but the lowest month in 2014. While the week of Christmas, we had 6 homicides in Jamaica. It was the lowest since 2001. And if you look back at the number in 2001, then you're talking about maybe 16, 17 per 100,000.
Dr. Chang, clearly, just from this conversation, and obviously for those who have been paying attention to the things that you've been saying over the years, it's clear that there is a strategic plan afoot. That should be clear to everybody now. The challenge, though, Dr. Chang, is that, Jamaicans may feel a bit impatient because they have lived for so long with high crime, as a reality. And I wondered, as a security minister, how you think about bridging that gap, because 19% reduction by any stretch of the imagination, outstanding. But then there are Jamaicans who say, but we still not feel safe. How do you get the population to understand that this is going to take the kind of long-term strategy and visioning and investment that you're laying out. How do you get them to buy into that? Let's take that right after the break.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:44.
Label Crafts Jamaica Limited offers exceptional finishes that will make your product extraordinary at an affordable cost. The temperature brought to you by Label Crafts Jamaica Limited. The #1 choice for label printing is...
It's 27 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and 26 out west in Montego Bay.
Does your bra ride up your back? Do your shoulders hurt from carrying the weight of your breasts? These are signs of an ill-fitting bra. When was the last time you were fitted by a bra fit specialist? The bra experts at LaBelle Femme will take care of you. Drop into the store at 53 Lady Musgrave Road, Tuesdays to Saturdays from 10 to 5, and you will see the difference. Or call 876-622-6091.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales for a better choice in the electrical business.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. You're listening to The Cover Story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
We have with us the country's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang. If you haven't heard, last year, the security forces recorded significant improvements in terms of the murder rate, dipping by just about 19%, yes, 265 fewer Jamaicans killed when compared to 2023. Dr. Chang has been laying out for us how the government thinks about the crime fight as a strategic matter. And my question to you, Dr. Chang, is, as I'm sure you well know, there are Jamaicans who are impatient. They say, yes, it's coming down, it needs to come down faster. How do you get them, get us, all of us, as a country, to move and understand the vision in a way that says to them, we understand you want it urgently, but we have to first, as Siobhan put it, lay a groundwork that we can build on. How do you communicate that?
There are two sides to that. One, we have to maintain the consistency of what we're doing. We have to be consistent, and we keep it going down. That you'll find in years where the crime rate was extremely high. Let's say in St. James where I'm from, people will feel good, pretty good once we get to 100, which we are near now. But because we come from 230, in areas like Manchester where there are 25, they spike a bit to 40, which is relatively low to St. James, but it is frightening for a community which is getting it for the first time. Mm-hmm. So we have to just maintain the pressure on the criminals and keep it going down. We will take less than 10 years, as Professor Clay said this. And I think we can get that in the next 24 months pretty effectively. What you have to have, the other thing that's what really frightens people is not so much the constantly high homicide which happens among mainly the criminals themselves, is that when you get multiple victims in a kind of quiet space, as a week, a dance, where the contract killers, when they were active, they go and they kill the victim and anybody who's in the region. That is what frightens society and make you feel this can happen. It happened at a church. It really, because they move from the hotspots where we have put in place police presence, we have intelligence, we monitor the areas effectively. So the dispersion at this stage will tend to create a fear and maintain a level of fear. But they are going there because we are close to them, so to speak. And I know the police is on behalf of the police. So that will go down. And in the process, we have to get what I talked, and I quite say it frankly, at a greater level of intelligent discussion. You cannot discuss crime in silos. Mm-hmm. I enjoy talking to you, we talk to other reported. But sometimes you get a big feature. They pick out one item, and it becomes a major issue, and it carries the space, the entire communication system. Although you have TikTok and social media, and the police have built a good space, we still have to those who are in leadership analyze issues effectively, because the data, we don't hold any data to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to, as a ministry. So we're willing to provide the data, we're willing to provide the background so there can be intelligent discussion. Because until then you get a kind of reactive thing. Something happened, they just shout. You know, there's a tendency still. I'll give several examples before I go to the other aspect, which I think we'll have to discuss before I leave for a minute. For the long term, there's a legacy that the police was carrying out in their various, in the plans,
yes,
in brackets that were called, was really special, was that it is felt was indulging in execution,
yes,
judicial killing,
which affected the level of trust in the force.
Affected the level of trust. No, it's not impossible that this could happen on occasion again, but there's nothing root, there's no extrajudicial killing plan or routine, and no special squad going on to the thing. You know, the police has taken down the process of making a case against the known killers. And many have migrated because of that, because they have no, because we have been naming, the police have been naming them. Several are in court. A couple have been engaged, the police have been shot. But one incident may happen in a way that the police officer on the road for a long time, a known killer gets in the way, and it's not impossible for policemen to make a mistake. A man see, he looks like he has a gun, he doesn't have a gun, because these are people who carry guns all the time. And they'll take that one case now, make out that the police are on track to carry out extrajudicial killing, a systematic approach. I can say without a qualification, without even thinking the fact that I'm in the ministry and favoring anybody, the police are in the process to investigate, identify criminals, and bring them to justice. If they fight the police, as I said before, the police are well trained, and they take them out. The police get killed. It is not impossible in those stages for somebody who may be at the spot at the wrong time, just like killers do. But there's nothing systematic about it. But one happens, and there's a big debate for 2-3 weeks, and everybody calling on the government to do X, Y, and Z and to invest in all kind of things to prosecute the police.
So understanding, and I appreciate that. So understanding that is the communication environment that you're operating in. How do you ensure that you manage that, or do you think you can't manage that?
No, the police has in fact established a very good communication unit, and I make myself available every time. And I said, on issues of things like investment in processes, you can call me anytime, and I will outline why. You can make a comment recently, you just see the controversy around cameras.
Mm-hmm.
We just a fact of life. We're not doing anything. We knew how to maintain, and there are a lot of companies are saying they could maintain them, but they learned they were maintaining what you might call local area networks, the whole order, like a property, a big apartment complex. To do island-wide, they just never have the capacity. They weren't prepared to go with just an announcement. It's costly. And therefore, we're building it out. We inherited a few which are in bad shape, and we're built out and sought to set standards. And we're there now. It took a while because we have to get a company who was willing to invest in it, and we have, I think, the technocrats have identified a company that is willing to do so, and I understand has a very good reputation, have been led by some of those in the field before, and we are now going forward. We have 1,000 cameras. We'll complete it further 2,000 later, during the course of the year, and we hope that the telecom companies themselves will improve the quality of their services so we can expand the service beyond that. But we're using the police communication system and other, that is available, and the government network. So the build-out of an effective force is proceeding, and we'll get positive results. And the country, some are feeling better now. The majority will feel better, I think, within 24 months, within the next 12 months. And then we'll look forward to much lower levels. But the much lower level will come in the long term. What will happen in the 10 years that Prof claimed, like Luther, is the impact of crime prevention. It's an area that doesn't attract attention. We're going to put some more communication material out there very soon, because intervening in the challenged communities, some of which are under zones of special operation, there's 100 of them out there, and we are looking at comprehensive intervention in these areas and to integrate the social intervention in the institution of government, which we're doing under the Citizens Business Council, but it's still a work in progress because of traditional cultural practices by government agencies. But we're getting there, and as that takes place and we get the schools in particular in the school districts in difficult areas and restore a sense of life value to people in the difficult areas and offer opportunity, the families release on the social pressures, then the recruitment into the gang will decline and we'll have less people involved. Criminality will be always there. Crime is a business. And, United States per capita income is 80,000 per head, but they have criminal organization. Singapore has similar per capita income. They have crime, but the homicide and the widespread gang activity that seek to take control of communities and really undermine the social stability is what we have to get to, and we're going there and going there fast. I'm confident in saying that.
Dr. Chang, looking to 2025, the Enhanced Security Measures Act, the last time we spoke about this, I understood that there was a bit of distance between the government and the opposition on what that piece of legislation should look like. Now that the Prime Minister is putting it forward, am I to believe that loggerheads has been passed, or is the government just moving forward on this unilaterally?
No, we may have to go unilaterally and let the courts decide if we are still within the constitutional framework. The Prime Minister have insisted on it because there are aspects of it we need to have going forward to strengthen the hand of the security forces. At the rate we're going, we maybe get, as I said, with the investment we have put in all the things in the institution, the police force, and now going aggressive in the communities, we may very well supersede it, but it is a piece of legislation that would be good for the future and for both the present and the future. And we may have to use the majority in Parliament and pass some legislation and let the courts decide if they're within the constitutional bar, because different people interpret them differently. So, I look forward to having continued discussion with the Prime Minister and the legal minds around, because it's not just the opposition that is concerned. There are members of the legal profession who feel that if we go to a certain level, you will be breaching the constitutional bar. Not everyone agrees with that. So we may have to just, as legislators, make a decision based on a set of advice, and if it goes to court, which is what the courts are there for.
Absolutely.
The courts are there to make decision on legislation that we pass.
And legislators and lawmakers shouldn't be afraid of that. So I support that. But let me ask you, I have not yet, and Siobhan can correct me, I have not yet seen a statement from your opposition counterpart or the opposition leader commending the police force for the achievement last year. Yeah. Obviously, it's not where we want it to be, but they're making gains. Does that surprise you that the parliamentary opposition has not said anything about this?
A little bit, not totally, but a bit surprised, yes, because I think, as I said, we have been trying to take the issue of crime and nation safety beyond the narrow bounds of the very narrow bounds. It will always be a political issue, it's a national issue, and it should be the best place to debate these things. It's still Parliament. The parliamentarians are representative of the people, and we need not to find a quiet room somewhere where wannabe politicians and security officials come to discuss with the politicians what they think we should do. I think we need to discuss it more in Parliament. I expect the opposition to make their comments. They have to make their critiques. They might say it could have gone further. If not, I would say if they had agreed to the state of public emergency earlier, would have to have persistence, would have maybe get this number earlier. But that's not at this point relevant. What I know the 24, we got good results. As I said, December was particularly outstanding because they responded, and that's what makes me as a minister feel good, in that we had a pressure on the system in November and the police responded without being anything illegal or illegitimate or bluntly, they were not brutal in the activity in December, but we cut the homicide rate down by targeted intelligent policing. And we ought to commend the men. They are professional, men and women. They are professionals. They are not part of any political alignment. Far from it, as we can think of, most professional young men and women should be supported by the nation, and given that, moral support that they need to continue doing what's a tough job. We have had a couple of police officers killed this year. We have police family members who have been killed. So they deserve the support of the country. They have worked hard, and we need to convey that, and the opposition need to take that position. I think it's only decent. They should give the police the commendation and support they deserve, and then criticize us for what we may or may not be doing.
Yeah.
That's their job. But come to Parliament, I will certainly make a statement in Parliament I think the 14th of January, and they'll have another opportunity. But, these things need to be interrogated continuously. The atmosphere and the ecosystem for crime changes on an ongoing basis. So the more debate we have in an intelligent way, the better off we are in responding. But I know that the police force itself monitors the station well and listens to the public, and are working to ensure we have not only maintain their professionalism, but effective in dealing with the criminal actors out there. What the government has said is, what the Prime Minister hinted at, is to begin to pivot to more resources once we keep the economy on the right track in terms of institutionalizing and expanding intervention in these challenged communities to, in fact, correct some of the social conditions that generate easy recruitment for criminals.
Yeah. Dr. Chang, we're out of time. I suspect we'll have much more of these conversations, many more in 2025. Thank you so much for your time, as always. Appreciate it.
Anytime. Thank you. Thank you, Ricardo and Siobhan. And have a good evening.
You too.
Good New Year.
You too.
Look forward to for Nationwide and this team.
All right, Minister.
Same to you, Dr. Chang.
And I saw
Thank
Siobhan an editorial in The Observer commending the security forces for the reduction. I want to lend my voice and associate myself with it.
I think all well-thinking Jamaicans would love to do that.
200 fewer Jamaicans murdered is a good thing.
It's something to celebrate.
If we can keep that up, yeah, then maybe I will retire in a country better than I came into the workforce, yeah? And it's something that I want to see, yeah? That's all the time we have. The headlines at 6 are next.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
2 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Nationwide News understands that the Police High Command is set to announce a raft of strategic leadership changes and reassignments among the ranks of its senior officers. The changes, which will affect various divisions and specialized units, are set to take effect at the start of the year. They are being made in an effort to better utilize the existing leadership expertise across the force. They are also intended to strengthen the modernization and transformation efforts of the country's premier crime-fighting force. The adjustments and reassignments are said to be important as the JCF prepares for the challenges and opportunities in 2025. The changes are also aimed at improving service delivery as the force prepares to build on the 19% reduction in murders recorded in 2024. Former chairman of the Economic Program Oversight Committee, EPOC, Keith Duncan, is welcoming news that the country could soon see the promised Enhanced Security Measures Act, ESMA. Mr. Duncan believes, the ESMA is one area where both political parties have some level of agreement.
We welcome the Prime Minister's commitment to have the long-awaited Enhanced Security Measures Act completed. I do believe that the government of Jamaica and the opposition are close aligned around removing major violence producers from communities. Opposition leader Mark Golding has recommended pre-detention as a tool to do so, while the state of public emergencies as utilized by the security forces has become a lot more targeted in their approach to removing violence producers from off the streets.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness, in an article on Thursday, hinted at the act in 2025. He stated that it is essential due to what he calls the opposition's inconsistent stance on states of public emergency as a long-term tool for violence reduction. According to Mr. Holness, the legislation will eliminate reliance on short-term political approvals, providing the security forces with the clarity and authority they need to dismantle violent networks decisively. He's calling on the government and opposition to avoid political gamesmanship to pass the act.
The government of Jamaica and the opposition, especially in this election year, should resist the political upmanship and work constructively to get this Enhanced Security Measures Act completed in the best interest of Jamaica. This should be done as a major priority, as these enhanced measures can lead to the removal of violence producers and by so doing reduce major crimes and murders and save the lives of our brothers and sisters who live in fear, especially in these gang-infested communities.
Keith Duncan, Chairman of the Fiscal Commission Advisory Board. Meanwhile, Chairman of the Crime Monitoring and Oversight Committee, Lieutenant George Overton, is welcoming the act as another useful tool in the toolbox, but he says its effectiveness will still require some level of buy-in from the opposition.
It would require some level of agreement with the opposition, and certainly, if you're not going to have a buy-in or an understanding, then what's the point? Because may not be now, but someday soon, the opposition may have the shoe on their foot as well. So it should be something that can be agreed and should be functional.
Mr. Overton is calling for more sustainable initiatives that will survive changes in administration.
We are seeing positive indicators by a reduction in the major crime. Year over year, we have had 2 successive years of decline. And if you compound them, it's fairly significant. Nowhere near where we ought to be, but certainly it's heading in the right trajectory. What for me and for the stakeholders in the agreement, it's that we want something that is sustainable and something that will transcend any change in minister, any change in government. And that's what the agreement is all about, that we agreed certain amount of initiatives that will give us a sustained reduction in crime and violence.
George Overton, Chairman of the Crime Monitoring and Oversight Committee. The ultimate solution to curbing crime is ridding the country of squatter settlements, which are considered the breeding ground for gang recruitment. That's the view of Director of Research at the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, CAPRI, Dr. Diana Thorburn. While welcoming Jamaica's decline in murders, Dr. Thorburn noted that 70% of the murders recorded were gang-related. According to Dr. Thorburn, many of these gangs are based in informal communities.
We have to be thinking about more structural changes. The political type changes can be done in 5 years. And when we talk about political changes, we're talking about the way in which the communities where gangs are based, where they have safe havens, where they reproduce themselves. If you look at the communities where gangs are sourced, including where they get their recruits from, these are largely informal communities, meaning that the people who live there do not have legal tenure to where they live. Many of them are government housing communities, many of them are capture land settlements.
Dr. Thorburn says the ideal solution to continuing the downward trajectory in crime is to regularize informal settlements across Jamaica. She says this can be achieved in a single election term.
What we have not done is address those systemic issues of informality. The ultimate solution is to remove the conditions in which gangs are able to create themselves and recreate and reproduce themselves. That is the ultimate solution, and that is what lies in formalizing the communities where the gangs are based. That's the ultimate solution, and that can be done in 5 years. And this is already in our 2013 National Security Policy, which Professor Clayton himself wrote. You cannot deal with the issue of gangs unless you deal with the issue of informal communities. That is something that can be done in one election cycle, if we're serious about it.
Dr. Diana Thorburn, Director of Research at Capri. Those are the headlines at 6. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Sports is next.
Gang violence must stop. It needs to stop. Be the change, not the chain. Let's end gang violence now. Let's all live good.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
It's undeniable that we should be together.
The true beauty of music is that it connects people. It carries a message. It speaks to you. It changes you. And that's exactly what we do just for you every Sunday as we take you to Urban Paradise, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Urban Paradise is our weekly musical journey that will serve up 110 glorious minutes of positive storytelling through music, mixed in with inspirational features to provoke thought and to heal the soul.
Like a dream come true, just wanna be with you.
So join me, Diane Ashton Smith, this and every Sunday, 9:10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. Urban Paradise, opening our hearts, connecting to others.
Good evening with your sports reporter, I'm Alex Raby. We start with some track and field as former 100 meters champion Fred Curley has been arrested by Miami police and slapped with charges of alleged battery. Curley was involved in a skirmish with the police on Friday and was tased. The 29-year-old American sprinter won bronze in the men's 100 meters at the 2024 Paris Olympics and silver in the event at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. According to the Miami police, Curley approached the site of an active investigation and disturbed efforts. He expressed concerns about his car, which was parked nearby. The sprinter was asked to clear the area, but refused. Police claimed he became aggressive. He was then tased and shown in body cam footage that was later televised on local TV channels. At the Miami Beach Police Precinct, Curley was charged with the battery of a police officer, corrections officer, or firefighter, resisting an officer without violence, and disorderly conduct. Now to cricket, as Cricket West Indies CWI announced the schedule for the Bangladesh women's team's white ball tour of the West Indies, set to be held in St. Kitts from January 14 to February 1. The tour will feature 3 one-day internationals and 3 T20 internationals, all to be played at Warner Park. The Bangladesh team will arrive in St. Kitts on January 14, ahead of the first one-day international, scheduled for January 19. The ODI series will continue with the second match on January 21 and conclude on January 24. Following the ODI series, the teams will compete in 3 T20 international matches on January 27, 29 and 31. A strong performance against Bangladesh, particularly in the ODI series, is crucial to acquire automatic qualification to the 2025 ICC 50 Over Women's Championships. However, there will still be another opportunity to qualify through the World Cup qualifying tournament scheduled a few months before the event. The tour schedule includes dedicated practice sessions for both teams. Australia dismissed India for 185 on day 1 of the 5th test, but a fired-up Jasprit Bumrah struck with the final ball of the day to boost the tourists late on. Bumrah had opener Usman Khawaja caught at second slip for 2 and turned to celebrate in the face of 19-year-old Sam Constas, with India thinking both batters were wasting time in what proved to be the last over. The tourists, who trailed 2-1 in the best of 5 series and need to win to retain the Border Gavaskar Trophy, had earlier tentatively edged to their total on a lively Sydney pitch. They left out struggling captain Rohit Sharma, but the move did little to improve the fortunes of their top order as Scott Boland took 4 for 31. India were 72 for 4 when Boland dismissed Virat Kohli for 17 and 120 for 6 when Rishabh Pant, who top scored with a cautious 40, and Nitish Kumar Reddy fell to the seamer in consecutive balls. But Bumrah, captain in India in Rohit's place, hit 3 4s and a 6 in a 17-ball 22 to lift the total, and his dismissal left the time for India to have 3 overs at Australia before the close. Scores in the match so far: India 185, Australia 7 for 1. Opener Ryan Reckleton and captain Themba Bavuma cracked impressive centuries to put host South Africa in a position of strength at close on day 1 of the second cricket test at Newlands in Cape Town. Reckleton, who was asked to open in the absence of injured Tony De Zorzi, struck an unbeaten 176 and Bavuma 106 as the Springbok closed on 316 for 4. It was a brilliant recovery from the hosts, who were 70 for 3 at one stage. Reckleton and Bavuma rescued the innings with a stunning 4th wicket stand of 235, the highest 4th wicket stand for South Africa against Pakistan. Salman Agha ended with 2 for 55 bowling for Pakistan. Now to Houston, as Christian Sasso and Aliana McMaster toppled defending champions Craig Simpson and Wendy McMaster to take the top spots at the recent Rangers Gun Club Sporting Clay Classic at the True Juice Complex in Bogwalk, St. Catherine. Sasso got the win by way of a tense shoot-off with Chad Zaidi by just 1 bird. Both men shoot a 91 at the end of the regulation 100 bird shoot, hence the need for the shoot-off to determine the eventual winner. Sasso was winning his first Rangers Gun Club shoot, for which he is a long-time member.
It feels good, to be honest. Like you just said, it is my gun club, so to bring home a win for the gun club made me feel proud, So it wasn't that easy win. I had a 91 along with Chad Zaidi, and we had a shoot-off, and I came out victorious by 1 bird. So, it was close. The competition was very close. The course was, pretty tough, but we managed it, So.
Christian Sasso McMaster, who dominates the ladies section of the sport, posted a 3rd win of the Rangers Gun Club shoot out of 4 attempts.
Honestly, I came out here to just have fun, so I really just came out to just enjoy the basic factor of just coming out to shoot and spend time with my family. And honestly, it's just such a blessing that I'm able to regain the title of ladies champion. The whole setup of the course kind of did affect me more specifically because of my specific circumstances. But honestly, you just kind of have to focus on what's really important and don't let the external affect your internal. So that's just mainly what's the most important.
Aliana McMaster. Now to the NFL, as NFL analyst Jerome Jarrett says there is still plenty to be decided on the final weekend of the regular season, including the final 2 playoff places, a couple of division titles, and an all-important top seed. Jarrett says the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings do battle for the NFC top spot in the big game of the weekend.
The Minnesota Vikings travel to Detroit to take on the Detroit Lions. Both teams are 14-2. Marks the first time in history 2 teams 14-2 will face each other in a regular season game, and it promises to be an exciting matchup. This game is essentially a playoff game, and this game is for all the marbles. The winner of this game is the number 1 seed with home field advantage throughout the playoffs, and that bye week that everybody wants. And the loser of this game has to go on the road for the rest of the playoff. Imagine being 14-3 and having to play all your games on the road. So everything is on the line in this game.
Jarrett says the Atlanta Falcons and Tampa Bay Buccaneers will fight it out for the NFC South.
The NFC South is yet to be decided. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers 9-7 are in the driver's seat. They win and they are in. However, if they lose and the Atlanta Falcons win, then the Atlanta Falcons get in. So it's all for the marbles in the NFC South as well. On the AFC side, most things are already been decided. They are 2 slots to be determined. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they are already in the playoff, but they want to win the division, so they need to win against the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Baltimore Ravens, who play the Browns, they also need to win to secure the division as well. The winner of that division hosts a playoff game, and the person who is the wild card will have to go on the road for the remainder of the playoff.
Jerome Jarrett, I'm Alex Swiby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited Customer Appreciation Week, December 16 to 20 is
6:19.
The management and the staff of the Jamaica Customs Agency extend the very best wishes to you and your family for a safe, peaceful, and enjoyable holiday. Whether you're effecting clearance at the port, traveling to and from the airport, or undertaking other transactions, we urge you to travel safely, use good judgment, and stay within the speed limit. We thank you for your support throughout 2024 and look forward to a healthy, prosperous, and productive new year. Happy New Year! From Jamaica Customs.
The holiday season is filled with happiness and cheer, but it can also be a time of danger for road users. Here's a holiday road safety tip from Petrojam Limited in association with the Road Safety Unit.
If you feel extremely tired or as if you're about to doze off, don't drive. For long trips, have a relief driver who can take over if you become tired or sleepy. If there's no relief driver, pull over in a well-lit and safe area. Take a power nap and restart your journey. A road safety tip from the Road Safety Unit and Petrojam Limited, where safety is our #1 priority.
It's the weekend and the youth are taking over the airwaves. Yes, we are the new voices and faces of the Talk Up You radio show. The voice of the Jamaican youth right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
After a busy week of work and school, come on wine with Jamaica's #1 youth radio show.
We're bringing you entertainment, fun facts, and staying true to youth development and advocacy.
Catch the action each and every Saturday as we roll out buzzy segments. What say you?
Youth for chat.
Life skills.
Global Connect.
And Bust the Youth. That's the Talk Up Youth radio show. Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie.
Talk Up Youth. Don't miss it.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robianne Williams. A special good evening to our YouTubers. Thank you so much for staying tuned, for keeping the YouTube channel active. Thank you so much. I want to say a Happy New Year. It's still, we're still in the Happy New Year period. We can still say it. I know some people say it up till February. It's the 3rd of January, and it is indeed a happy one. Let's start with what's in the news. Professor of Sustainable Development at the Mona campus of the University of the West Indies, Anthony Clayton, says Jamaica would need to record consecutive years of significant reductions in murders before it can be said to have tamed the crime monster. Now, he was reacting to the 19% drop in murders reported in 2024. Last year, 265 fewer Jamaicans were killed when compared to 2023.
We would have to get a further 19% reduction next year, and then another 19% the year after that, and another 19% the year after that. And we would have to maintain that trend for 10, 11, 12 years before we could finally get our homicide rate down to where it was at the time of independence. That's the kind of progress that we have to make.
Indeed, Professor Anthony Clayton there. He was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Thursday. So in Public Opinion this evening, this is something that affects not only me, another person, it affects the entire country, it affects us, the people, everybody it affects. It's not until, it reach your doorstep, it affects everyone. So we want to know, in Public Opinion this evening, What's your reaction to the 19% drop in murders for 2024? What's your reaction to the 19% drop in murders for 2024? To that question, we posed it on our social media platform, and I'll start on Facebook, where Winston saying, great job. Hope the government / JCF keep the pressure on the criminals this year as well. Maury MacArthur saying, it's excellent. We'll soon can be able to sleep with our doors and windows open. Anthony Sheikh says, excellent news. The investments in the JCF and the JDF make it possible. And he's saying, good going, Dr. Chang. Philip Jackson saying, well, I must say, because of the hefty investment by the government into the security industry, the police officers are more equipped to do their job, their work, so we are getting better results. And he's saying we as citizens need to do our part for Jamaica, not jail PRP&P. Right, Philip Jackson. Hugh Prendergast believes it's a good job. It can only reduce further by the citizens who see and know but turn a blind eye, but ball loudest when it reach them doorsteps. And that's what I'm saying. You can't wait till it reach the doorstep for your ball out. Derek McCreath is saying it's a good news for all Jamaican citizens. Good job, JCF, the men and women. Also saying good job, JCF, is Alvin Thomas. He's saying good job by the minister and JCF. Original Boss Lady on Facebook saying, good going government and JCF 2025 will be greater. Yeah? Dwight Venn believes that any reduction is a positive one. Indeed so. Nicholson, I see, sending great job here to Dr. Horace Chang. Natalie Winter says it needs to drop further. Yeah? But yeah, Dwight Venn, any reduction at all. Any reduction at all is welcomed. On our Instagram, Momo Saint Bless is clapping. Yeah, commendable job. Chris Duncan says, awesome job by the police. They're working hard and working well. Year on year, 27% drop. Weavon is saying, shows that the crime rate is heading in the right direction. Congratulations to both the police and the government. Yeah. All right. Let me see. The Bongo Man is saying, not fooled by this. Give me 3 consecutive years of 20% year on year. A striker. Don't become world class by 1 season. Yeah? Wisdom Sheldon is laughing and saying, you can't trick me. And Ace believes that this is a smoke screen. By the way, is saying that the constant focus and discussion about this achievement makes me very nervous. While it is an achievement, as a country, we still have a far way to go where the reduction of crime is concerned. Yeah? All right, let me see if I can get in a few more from our TikTok. Hear me TikTok, boy. From our X platform. Yes, the question we're putting to you at this point in time, your reaction to the 19% drop in murders for 2024 when compared to 2023. Let me see if I can get in. Graham Jervis says there's a lot more to do, but we're moving in the right direction for the 2nd straight year. Keep up the good work at Jamaica Constab. Griot is saying the 200 and odd people who didn't die or get killed will probably be grateful for it. No, probably. Yeah? More than grateful to be alive. More than grateful. Andre Lawrence is saying that he welcomes the 19% reduction in murders and believe the numbers could have dropped even further without Golding's interference. With a focused and united approach, we can achieve even greater progress. That's according to Andre Lawrence. Terence is saying it's a lot to be thankful for. We pray that it will be even better for 2025. Yeah? On our YouTube platform, let's get to the comments over there. Gloria is saying people must organize. Okay, I think you're referring to something else right there. Kevin, the 19% drop is like a drop in the bucket. The police must be commended, but not the minister. All right. The security minister need to be replaced. Wow. No good policy directive. Jamaicans are living in fear. That's according to Kevin. All right, let me see if I can get in a few more. Grounded on the Tarmac is saying, you must understand that Brogard and Chang want to win next election and positive public is crucial for that to happen. That said, 1 year is nothing to write home about. Okay. Father Perry believes that it would be instructive for you to have asked the opposition leader that question. Okay. Because we've not heard a peep out of them. All right. Michael Clark is saying good work, the government and the JCF. Think Tank is saying this 19% is a significant concern. I understand the government's intention is not to alarm its citizens. However, the situation remains deeply troubling. Josephine is saying excellent news. Congratulations to the government and the JCF. Also, and the informers. Yeah, that is it. That is it. The informer for dead culture. Drop. Done. Fling it away. So yes, we should commend the informers as well. Yeah? Douglas Rogers says great job, but could have caused the PNP not to condemn the security forces. Is it that they were disappointed? Oh, to commend. Let me get that again. Douglas Rogers is saying great job, but he's questioning what could have caused the PNP not to commend the security forces, and he's asking, is it that they were disappointed? We all need to help fight crime. Yeah? Let me see. Yeah, Marcus the Best said big up to the informers. Yeah, big up to the informers indeed. Yeah? Let me see if I can get in a few more. We're asking you your reaction to the 19% reduction in murders for the year 2024. Any reduction at all? 265 lives that were more lives, you know? Any reduction at all is welcomed. Any reduction at all, I believe, is welcomed. Yeah? Cynthia Matheson is saying Golding should support this improvement. Political analyst believes that we should get rid of the informal communities, and I think that was a suggestion made by a director of Capri. We brought it in the news. The informal settlements, the squatting, we should get rid of because she was saying that it contributes to the crime that we're seeing. Yeah? Let me see if I can get in a few more. Karen Nunez is saying great job, JCF and the government. Betsy Powell is saying when crime is up, JLP government gets blame, but it drop, the government don't get any credit. Yeah. Chief of Staff is saying excellent. You know, and we should commend the Jamaica Constabulary Forces, the men and women who do their very best to keep us safe. Yeah? Fighting the odds, keeping us safe. We do, and we really should send commendation to the men and women of the JCF. All right, that's the time we have. And also the JDF. Yes. Josephine said big up the JDF also. Yes. The security forces indeed. We big you up this evening, and we wish and we hope and we pray all together as a nation that we can see further reduction in murders, in shooting, in major crimes, in the other major crimes, break-ins, robberies. We need to see the reduction, and it can only happen with you the people, you know. We the people, it will happen. We the people get involved, stamp it out. It can happen. Yeah? Thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. Up next, the Business Report.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, industrial automation and control solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is
27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 26 Southwest in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Apple has agreed to pay $95 million to settle a court case alleging some of its devices were listening to people without their permission. The tech giant was accused of eavesdropping on its customers through its virtual assistant, Siri. The claimants also allege voice recordings were shared with advertisers. In the preliminary settlement, the tech firm denies any wrongdoing as well as claims that it recorded, disclosed to third parties, or failed to delete conversations recorded as the result of a Siri activation without consent. Apple's lawyers also say they will confirm they have permanently deleted individual Siri audio recordings collected by Apple prior to October 2019. But the claimants say the tech firm recorded people who activated the virtual assistant unintentionally without using the phrase, "Hey Siri," to wake it. They say advertisers who received the recordings could then look for keywords in them to better target ads. And in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 156 Jamaican dollars and 93 cents to buy $1 US, 195 Jamaican dollars and 36 cents to buy $1 British pound, and 109 Jamaican dollars and 83 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Roby-Ann Williams. Have yourselves a good evening and a wonderful weekend.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all the schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team. Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Are you ready for it?
Revo. Coming soon.
Looking to rent a fully operational production studio? Then Nationwide 90 FM has got you covered. We have flexible options to meet your recording needs any day of the week. Monday to Fridays, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturdays and Sundays available upon request. Bookings must be made in advance. Call us today at 630-1210. Let us help you reach your production desires.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Informative, educational, insightful. Let's talk justice. Tackling topics like constitutional rights and reform, domestic violence, and rights issues that affect you. Let's talk justice every Monday from 1 to 2 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. Call in, share your thoughts, be empowered, know your rights, and let's talk justice, ensuring access to justice for all, courtesy of Jamaicans for Justice.
Exciting news! The Design Studio on Nationwide 90 FM just got a whole lot bigger. Join us this and every Saturday now from 1 to 3 p.m. for an exclusive show that elevates your home, mind, and soul. Discover the latest interior design trends to create your dream sanctuary. Unlock your true potential with personal growth strategies. Nourish your body and spirit with expert wellness tips. Don't miss out on the inspiration you need to live your best life. Tune in to the Design Studio this and every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. and take the first step towards a more fulfilling you.
Make me sweat, make me harder.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the nation's business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Turning our attention now to the vexed issue of road maintenance. Almost everywhere you go, you hear somebody complaining about the roads. We have with us veteran journalist, host of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica podcast. You know him well, Sir Franklin McKnight. We have with us Professor of Planning and Public Policy at the University of Technology, Carol Archer, as well as Associate Professor at the Faculty of the Built Environment at the University of Technology, Dr. Glendon Newsome. Now, almost half a century ago, listeners, the nation was pondering this same issue, how to fix the roads. And get this, in 1978, in fact, Thursday, January 5, 1978, Franklin McKnight penned a column in the Jamaica Gleaner decrying the state of the nation's roads and how the issue could be fixed. The article is titled Ministry of Pothole Construction. And he pointed to the need for that ministry to be solely dedicated to pothole construction and road destruction. At the time, Mr. McKnight said poorly maintained roads affect everyone, from damaged car to drenched pedestrians. And he said proper planning and accountability could transform the recurring issue, saving time, resources, and the frustration of Jamaicans. So, how do we go about it? Our guests are here with us this evening. Lady, gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening and good evening to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining us and Happy New Year to you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. McKnight, let me start with you because I was saying to Dana, 1978 would have been 10 years before both myself and Siobhan were born. And so when I read the article, I said, boy, sometimes, it seems that we take 10 steps forward and it seems that we really haven't moved as a country. And I wondered over the time that you've been looking at this issue. I mean, we're going to get to Spark and Dr. Newsome's article about road rehabilitation. Walk us through what you've seen over the years in terms of major efforts and push from governments to fix this issue of maintaining quality roads.
Well, and thank you for having me. One of the things I can say is that this issue has been a perennial one. Like you have said, I don't think we have moved any significant way forward. For me, a common thread over the years has been the involvement of the political director. Are you hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yes. It's the involvement of the political directorate. And I've just always thought that is wrong, the way that they've gone about it. I've always thought, and I think, no, that the NWA or whatever agency that we would have together should be just properly resourced and given the task of maintaining the roads, building all the new ones as necessary, but that they make the determination which roads to work on, the amount of expenditure that's going to be done on them, with supervision, of course, with with adequate supervision, of course, and accountability processes, and that representation be made by the political representatives, that they would approach the NWA in the parishes or wherever. And that is the nearest thing to what I heard about, as because I didn't properly know it, as the PWD that used to exist. Because, and just to finish by saying, that we see, for example, the same potholes being repaired month after month. I see it in the rural areas. I was writing at that time, seeing a lot of St. Thomas, where I worked at the time. I see it all the time. It's almost the same area, the same spot, and it's done over and over. And the people of Jamaica have become very cynical about it, that the persons who benefit are politicians who line their pockets out of it. I believe that a properly resourced agency, such as the NWA should be put in place and determine what are the needs, these infrastructure needs of the roads, the bridges, etc., and not to be determined by the politicians.
Okay, Shimon, I just want to follow up with Dr. Newsom, because Dr. Newsom, in your article, you mentioned one of the issues being water, yeah? That is a challenge to the stability and the sustainability. And so when Mr. McKnight talks about properly resourced, immediately I started thinking, boy, that's going to be a tall order in terms of budgetary support. Spark is $45 billion.
Yes.
So if we were to have that kind of properly resourced agency, let's say it's the NWA, what would that look like in terms of our ability as a country to afford that kind of maintenance?
Well, of course, good evening again. I wouldn't necessarily be able to respond in monetary terms, but what I can tell you, right, is that pre-National Works Agency, and I'm a commissioned land surveyor myself, pre-Works Agency, there was the Public Works Department, to which Mr. McKnight alluded earlier on. And at that time, they had a survey branch. That survey branch, as I understand it, was to a large extent responsible for quality control in road construction and road maintenance. And what that meant is that there were some 25 surveyors or so that actually staffed that branch. That branch, by the way, was, for want of a better word, eradicated with the advent of the National Works Agency. But in those days, as I have been informed, the surveyors would actually be monitoring the construction and maintenance of roads. So that, take for example, if we are to go a little granular, at least 6 inches of marl would be used to construct the sub-base. And the final surface, asphaltic concrete, 3 inches. Both, of course, compacted. Not 6 inches compacted down to 4, or 3 inches compacted down to 2, but 6 inches compacted, 3 inches compacted. And surveyors would go out there, measure before and measure after, and sign off when the 6 inches and the 3 inches have been achieved. And that is quality control at the construction stage. As it relates to my article now, I'm really addressing the whole matter of drainage, because the first and foremost is that you need to get the water off the road in as short as possible a time. And what that means is that there needs to be proper drainage infrastructure in place. What we have now as drains that probably existed in 1978 when Mr. Franklin McKnight wrote that article cannot manage the level of flow that exists now, not with the kind of climate change issues that we have. Look at January now. How often have we been accustomed to this kind of rainfall in January, for example? So there lies the problem. And too often we are seeing roads newly resurfaced, and after the first shower of rain, there is ponding of water. That's dangerous, because right away that water is going to stay there and continue to undermine the surface until the next thing you know, it's gone, and then there's a pothole.
Sorry about that. Carol Archer, this matter then of maintenance and resurfacing and the fixing of roads, how would the efficiency then be better to be placed in the hands, as Mr. McKnight has called for, a single entity rather than the more ad hoc across multiple ministries and local government authorities that it's currently produced under?
Well, I would go a little bit further in supporting Mr. McKnight, not so much for a single entity, but for the politicians to be taken out. The politicians are to be there to make policies and to make legislation, not to be given a pool of funds where they can then make decisions on which road to fix. And invariably, the decision that they make in terms of which road to fix, it would be in their benefit to be returned. I think we need to ensure, as Dr. Newsom pointed out, McKnight pointed out, the technocrats are at the helm. That's what they are trained to do, not the politicians. The technocrats are trained to ensure that when the road is being repaired, that when the road is being constructed, there are certain standards. We have those standards. Those standards existed from the PWD to the NWA. What has happened is that with the micromanagement of the politicians in the process and hiring persons who are not necessarily properly trained or able to make the right decisions, that's what has affected. Now, in terms of the planning and land use, because when we talk about, as we read in Newsom's article, when you look at how the development, land use, has been taking place in areas of Kingston where you have paved areas, paved, and you don't have the requisite drainage to take the water from these properties. The drainage system has not been expanded yet. We have an expansion in terms of paved land where you have increased runoff. The runoff is not managed. The runoff comes on the road, whether it is parochial or national roadways. They damage the road. So we need to ensure that the land use decision that we make in terms of where we have the development and how the development is done, that we have the technocrats in place to ensure that the development is in accordance. Because we do have those, when you look at the NWA requirements, when you look at NEPA requirements or the local authorities requirements, they are written. But we do not have the technocrats doing the necessary enforcement.
Help me with something, Professor Archer, because the politicians tell me all the time, oh, no. We're not micromanaging. What we do, we might recommend the roads, but then it's actually the NWA or the implementing agencies that go in and execute. So they say they just recommend the roads. Yeah. So when you hear a budgetary allocation and they say the members of parliament getting X amount of money, they say it's really just to recommend to the agencies. You're saying you wouldn't want that kind of system to continue?
No. Yeah, no, not that. I would not want that system to continue. What I do want to continue or to have in place is to have the necessary consultation, input, and advice by even the residents. Because I have seen programs where the government has put money to pave roads and the community residents are saying, but they shouldn't go over this to go pave it when over here we have some concern. Had they consulted, had they have the requisite, the required town hall, not to say this is what we're going to do, but let us have your input as to the best approach. That is not happening. And we have, as McKnight pointed out from 1978 in St. Thomas, today that is happening. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of the government resources, and it is endangering. Truth be told, it is endangering the lives of our citizens.
But Professor, if as you suggest that the standards exist, we know what the material should be, how it should be used in terms of the road maintenance and resurfacing. What is beyond us then in terms of maintaining that standard when it comes to the actual implementation?
And if I could add, Professor, that must mean, as Dr. Newsom says in his article, that the Spark approach is welcome because there has been that kind of consultation with residents and stakeholders.
Well, I do hope that let's be very clear. You have the consultation where you have the meeting and you said, this is what is going to be done. Then you have the consultation that says, may I have your input? I am here to listen to you, to use that information to inform what we finally do.
Yeah.
There's that big difference. And I have seen enough and I've heard enough based on the work that I've been involved with. Unfortunately, the former is more the reality than the type of consultation that involves real and true consultation.
And Dr. Newsom, obviously we're talking about drainage. You talk about culverts, box drains, earth drains, and any other form in which these exist. You talk about them in your article. And for me, I just keep going back to all of this just sounds really, really expensive for central government to be able to execute in a way that we can comfortably say it's something that we can sustain. And I don't have the answers. I'm hoping you all can help me with that as to how we fund that kind of a thing in a country with our economic constraints.
Well, as it relates to the funding, Ricardo, I suppose I'll have to throw back the question to government. I mean, it's up to government to determine how it is that they raise the funding to facilitate or to support that type of infrastructure. But the fact of the matter is that you have two choices: you put in the roads without the infrastructure, and you lose them in a very short space of time, and literally waste money.
Yeah.
So the priority should be building out the drains. Build out the drains and budget for that, take care of that, and then the improvement to the road surface can come after, because the road surface is going to need the support of those drains.
So is it fair to say then that you think not only government, but we as citizens, because sometimes we get really impatient, we have to start thinking about this in a sort of long-term way?
Oh, of course, by all means. And if I just go back to the earlier point that I made, quality control is important too, whether it is the drains or the roadways. And the 5 or so persons surveyors that are at the National Works Agency now is certainly not going to be able to cope. Would not be able to cope with the demand that there is now to treat with the whole matter of quality and management of the road construction process.
Ricardo, if I may come in
yes,
here.
Yeah, I was about to come. Yes.
One of the things that you pointed to is the resources, and that's critical and that's crucial. But we have some every year, so there is something every year. The first thing to do is to manage that properly, to get 90 cents out of the dollar or 100 cents out of the dollar, rather than the 51, which we were told a couple of decades ago, 51 cents, that we were getting in value. Now, if you look, I go to the parish councils, I follow the parish councils, and if you look at that level, it is a waste. It's a great amount of waste, because you see that they don't have the systems. Each councillor comes in and tries to get something for his division, and the municipal corporation does not have the systems to carry out the work to give the people of Jamaica value for their money. That's just a fact. And if you drill down on it through the little superintendents that they have, I can't remember what they call them nowadays, you will see that the departments there do not have the flexibility, do not have the knowledge base to provide the estimates and so on for the work that's to be done and the work to be done. A lot of money goes to drain. You hear it all the time about the drain cleaning, about the new drains, and so on. So in the municipal corporation, if you look at that, you will see it's a significant waste of government resources.
If I may just jump in, please. I think what we can do is to use the technology more effectively and more efficiently. There are a number of GIS, geographic information tools. Dr. Newsom can speak more to those that we can use, drone technology that we can use to say, here is what we need to do. These set of, in terms of the road network, we will address this set of drainage network, we will address this time, and do it in a sequential manner to manage the limited resource, whether it's financial or human. But we do not at this point utilize the technology efficiently to inform how we manage or maintain or construct the road network. What we are doing, though, is using political expediency. And whether it is at the national level or at the local level, just to expand on Mr. McKnight's position, it's not that at the local level, the parish council, there is efficiency. Yes, but I think also because they are being strangled by central government, rather than central government decentralizing and saying to them, okay, we know that the parochial network, this is the pool of funds, and you get the pool of funds in a timely manner, as it is the parochial revenue funds for those local roads. The local authorities are not getting it in a timely manner. When you look at the expenditure of the local authorities, which I have done, they are not getting the resources in a timely manner to be able to repair, to be able to manage and maintain the road network, which of course is more expansive at the local level than at the national level. So the use of technology, the use, the appropriate distribution of resources at the local level will help to address this very pressing problem.
Yeah. All right. I suspect we'll continue these conversations, especially as Spark gets underway and is fully implemented. I think we're going to have you all back once it's underway to make sure, for example, the drainage, we'll be looking at that and to make sure that it's being executed so that in another 50 years, we don't have somebody having this conversation again. This was a very enlightening article, Mr. McKnight. And of course, Dr. Glendon Newsom, his article.
I have to point out, Mr. McKnight, though, what does Jamaica produce most? Right? Babies and potholes.
Well, that has changed.
I think you were wrong on at least
we're not producing as much babies anymore. Franklin McKnight, veteran journalist, professor of planning and public policy at UTech, Carol Archer, and associate professor at the Faculty of the Built Environment at UTech, Dr. Glendon Newsom. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You're bad. Have a good one.
GK1 now introduces third-party motor insurance from GK General Insurance. Download and log into the GK1 app, then select one of 3 affordable third-party options. The time by GK General Insurance is
2 minutes after 7.
It's flu season. Take DPH adult or children's formulation and eliminate your sniffling, coughing, sneezing, and itching. The temperature by DPH, minimize the symptoms, maximize the relief, is
27 degrees Celsius here in the capital, 26 out west in Montego Bay. Outside actually kind of cool and kind of chilly. Yeah.
Z Jamaica Robotics Conference, Tuesday, January 7, 2025, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Jamaica Pegasus Ballroom, celebrating the achievements of over 100 students and teachers who have achieved certification. Special guest speaker, Dr. Denzel Williams. Presentation by Zebra Robotics Canada. Sponsors, Lasco, Mothers, and Optimity. Tickets available for purchase at ztechnologies.aitix.com or contact 876-880-3301 or 876-499-3157. And tune in to Cliff Hughes Online from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as we broadcast live from the Z Robotics Conference, Tuesday, January 7, 2025, at the Jamaica Pegasus Ballroom. All this and more only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Z Technologies.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me. Let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the third and final hour, and it is going to be quite the weekend. The intimate concert to be held on Saturday, that is with Beres Hammond, Buju Banton, and a whole host of other artists. That is at Plantation Cove in Prairie St. Anne tomorrow. The St. Anne police are advising motorists to plan their routes carefully in anticipation of the concert. The event, which is in its second staging, will be held at Plantation Cove, as I said, and Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell is calling for motorists to be particularly careful if they're heading down that way.
The event is expected to attract a wide support, resulting in excessive traffic on the roadways in the division. It is against this background that the public is advised to factor additional time in their traveling arrangements. The police will be strategically deployed to assist with traffic management and other security concerns. The full cooperation of the public is required to assist with the management of this event.
Well, to discuss this further, we have with us the Mayor of St. Anne's Bay, Michael Belnavis. Good evening, Mr. Belnavis.
Good evening to you and your listeners.
Oh dear, I'm sorry, Mr. Belnavis. I can barely hear you. You sound quite... So, as I said, the concert is set for this Saturday. Unfortunately, I won't be able to attend. If you're interested, listeners, I see tickets are still on sale. If this price is correct, $100 for an advance ticket if you want to head out to Prairie St. Anne Plantation Cove and listen to the musical stylings of the great Beres Hammond and Sir Buju Banton. We hope to bring with us back Mr. Belnavis Mr. Belnavis, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, now we can hear you quite clearly. So, Mr. Belnavis, you seem to have quite the event coming up tomorrow down in your neck of the woods. How are things in terms of the management of traffic and just the general flow and control of potential individuals and so many people heading through your area tomorrow?
Well, as you know, the orchards and Plantation Cove in particular has been experiencing a boom in that every major artist in Jamaica has had one or two presentations there. Next we have Buju and Beres Hammond tomorrow, and then right after that is Rebel Salute.
Yes.
And then there's a series of them right after. So it's been hectic as far as that is concerned. But Ocho and St. Anne is now the party capital of Jamaica. So it's something that we have to take control of, get the revenues associated with that, and make the place make it be one of the items that we have as something that we look forward to. It's part of our economic empowerment right now.
It's a good problem to have.
Entertainment, tourism. It is a good problem to have. Yes, we're looking to expand, and the Prime Minister did announce it, the expansion of that thoroughfare between Old Trail and Discovery Bay. So that entire corridor is going to be renovated starting next year. I think the contracts and so on are being awarded as we speak right now, so those will be expanded. So we're looking to have some extension, and that would alleviate a lot of the traffic congestion as we speak.
Unfortunately, that is still in the future. So on the pilot tomorrow, it is expected that you're going to have quite a large amount of bodies and cars and vehicles in general on the road down there in St. Anne. Do you have specific arrangements in place to ensure that there's a smooth movement of traffic?
As smooth as we can get it. I already said that there'll be extra police out there, but I think that SUP will have to take into consideration the traffic congestion at the traffic lights, particularly by Plantation Cove, further by the KFC, by that entire development by Draxall, and also further down into the town of Otrius, where the two lanes merge into one, right by the town itself. So those are the jam up areas. So we have to ensure that there's enough police at those points, and also by priority to ensure that there is the side roads are not given priority over the main thoroughfare. So the police have to manage those lights. If that can be done effectively, I think we'll have a smooth transition and a smooth thoroughfare, and it will be a stress to the individuals. But we have to also ask that the drivers don't overtake and create bottlenecks with unnecessarily so. So that is going to be a little discipline on the part of the drivers. We had very little carnage this year. We're thankful for that. The hospital was not overwhelmed, St. Anne's Hospital. But if we maintain it, we'll have a great Christmas season. And with what's happening with these large shows, we anticipate that it can only be good for the economy and for St. Anne at large.
What about parking arrangements? I know the police play a part in this as well, but this tends to fall more on the municipality than any other individual. So what about the parking arrangements for this event? Will you be able to accommodate what I can imagine will the influx of vehicles that will be seeking areas to...
Plantation Cove has adequate parking, and so does the UDC parking lot. And what they usually do is have shuttle buses in place to alleviate some of the parking congestion, because sometimes coming out is as difficult as going in. Everybody wants to come out through the major thoroughfare, but I believe this time around they have several outlets. Last time, which was 2 years ago, everybody was trying to come through one gate. This time they have several gates, so you shouldn't have that issue coming out of the show. Everybody wants to leave at the same time. Good thing is that people won't be coming at the same time, so it won't be as congested. What I can say is that if you plan to come to the show, leave out a little bit earlier, enjoy the show, enjoy the evening. It's a nice, brisk. There's no rain here in Ocho. It's nice and brisk. It's cool. It's a great time. Wear something warm. Can you believe that in Jamaica we're something warm? It's really going to be
You're really tempting me now, Mayor Bell Davis, because it's not the same case here up in Kingston.
No, man, it's in the 70s here, right here in Ocho. It's nice and windy, and it feels like Christmas. And it's going to be on the grass. I went there today to look at the arrangement they're putting up. The stage is a huge stage. The area is extensive. It's right on the beach. The wind from the sea breeze is coming over, and it's not hot in the day, so it's going to mean a cool night as it is tonight. So we're with the windbreaker, carry a blanket, a nice chair, some towels to lay down on the grass. It's all grass, and it's going to be a great night. It's one of those nights where it's for family and for your loved one. It's going to be a nice romantic night.
And then finally, Mayor, what about the security concerns? I know, unfortunately, these large-scale events tend to also attract some some unsavory individuals who want to take advantage of the influx of people to line their pockets, so to speak. Would you have proper security arrangements in place?
Boy, police are going to be swarming the place. We've had much issues down this side with that in terms of, we've had car break-ins and so on, but that's usually when there are roadside events. This is within a confined area. There are a lot of lights. I saw a whole series of generative lights just this morning, so the place will be brightly lit. When people park, I don't anticipate any issues there. And we have many shows like this down here, day and night, and sometimes multiple shows at the same time. And there are no issues here. This Plantation Cove and Honorable Babsy Granger did a fantastic job in declaring this entertainment zone. That means that you can go on till late, you can have the decibels up somewhat. And it's just a great zone. So everybody wants to have their show, and everything that comes out here turns to gold. The area is the hotels, the guest houses, the Airbnbs, they're all doing well. And when you consider what is happening in the other parts of Jamaica, this is just the best place to be right now.
Well, you heard it there from Mayor Belle Nevis. Even if you're not going to Intimate Concert this Saturday, take a trip down to St. Anne. Enjoy the sights. Take in some of the cool air. Especially if you're a Kingstonian and the temperature is rising here.
Yeah, all the beaches are here. Everybody's laying out in the day. We do work down the side. We do work. But it's so much leisure down here and so much entertainment and tourists moving around. And the funny thing is, I thought that the demographics and are really a lot of the diaspora will be here. Because you find a lot of people now booked into the Airbnbs and they'll be coming over. Jamaicans who really appreciate Buju and Beres, for what they are. People in the 50s, 40s, 60s really appreciate him. So it's really it's a big man and big woman thing type of thing. But what happens is that their children now, in their 20s, grew up listening to their parents play this type of music. So they have the thing. So it transcends generations. And people just come and just enjoy good music and good entertainment in a safe, secure, ambience, a good family ambience. And that is what it's all about tomorrow night. It's a great ambience to celebrate and to really start the year right.
That's an excellent ambassadorship that you did for your parish, Mayor Belle Nevis. An excellent ambassadorship.
Yeah, and with Rebel Salute coming 2 weeks' time, a lot of things are happening. So it's going to be a great January, and we're looking forward to all the things that 2025 will bring. It's a great start to the new year.
Excellent. Mayor Michael Belle Nevis, he's the mayor of St. Anne's Bay. Thank you, Mayor. Have a good evening and all the best tomorrow. I hope you'll be out there at Intimate Concert enjoying yourself as well.
Yeah, I'll be going early and just enjoying the afternoon, make it an evening with family.
Excellent. Excellent.
Michael Belle Nevis here, the mayor of St. Anne's Bay. After the break, it'll be time for your calls. You know the numbers, you know them well. 630-937124, 618-8255.
Are you ready for it?
Revo. Coming soon.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all schoolers who are taking them.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
We're taking your calls now, 630-937-124, 618-8255. Richie, you're first. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to the club to the two young boys who don't know about the road. Great deal. Franklin McKnight feel it, and that's why he read that article. When the Jamaica Labour Party was in opposition, Parallel Charles told them to use rockstone to build roads. And I used to live at a district by the Red Gun out of Wodaba. And I see they use front end loader and push off the rockstone off the road and throw more on it. And within maybe months, October fall rain and fall a lot of rain, and one part of the road may just sweat up and burst. I believe most of the roads that we have in Jamaica right now, they build on rockstone and they stand at those roads. But you see the ones that build on marl, those will ever be problem. Because what are the things you see? You see the road that build on marl, even the first road that they construct, they never construct to carry all these big trucks, and trailers. So those roads will ever be problem. You see that like the toll road now, I drive from Wodaba to William Seal, and those will be start up and down. You know why? They are not level.
They're not
so
level. Oh, the water runs off.
Huh?
You have a point there that yes, they are constructed in such a way that the water does not pool. It essentially just glides off the road surface.
Yes, man. But I listened to Daniel Archer a while ago.
Carol Archer, not Daniel Archer.
Carol Archer, yes. Sorry about that. She talk about people need to be, in planning of construction of road. That's what she said?
She said the consultation should take place with the individuals in the various constituencies in terms of which roads should be prioritized.
Which roads should be prioritized?
Yes.
If the government should do that, you see, the problem is not going to stop because the bother want for them on one time.
Which is why you have priorities and then you have schedules. And I think that is what most Jamaicans would be satisfied with. If they could go to our website, like what exists for the Spark program currently, you can go to our website and it shows you, okay, your road is scheduled to be maintained or rehabilitated on X day over this period of time.
Which is why conceptually the Spark program is so good. But the question is the execution.
Yes.
As a concept, the plan is excellent. Will we be able to execute it as a country? That's to be seen.
But the point I'm making, if the government should give people authority, so we said we want it to without the next person. Everybody want their would want every day, at the same time, So the government did what was right. We are doing it, and this is what we don't win. You with me?
I hear it because what happens, and I don't bash the politicians for doing this, because you find that many Jamaicans kind of take themselves over to the political process. They will prioritize where they know the voters will feel most appreciated about the roads being fixed. That's why you can find in a lot of these garrison communities, they have some of the nicest roads sometimes, because they know that the politician is going to take care of them in terms of the road infrastructure. But we in the middle class living in the outer areas, and we just take ourselves from the political process, why do they need to cater to us at all?
All right, Richie.
But I'm going to finish though. But Brethren, what I'm saying though, you see, if we have more roads with stones, those will stand up longer, because most of the roads that will be fixing now, they're not going to stay too long, Because, as I said, they were constructed to carry these heavy vehicles, but the ones with the stone will stand. Because, for example, I watch Mrs. Golden, that's Tony Golden wife, Bruce Golden's sister. Bruce Golden, Tony Golden, which is Bruce Golden's brother. driving her Benz on Danton Drive. And she couldn't live in town, you know. Because it was river court, but it was packed with stone, and then from there, pave it. The road is good until now. You see my point, no, brethren?
Mm-hmm.
But the main point I'm talking about, the main problem that we will continue to have, these roads which have on the mud on them, and if they are not level, if they are level, we'll continue to have problem. But once they are this, we'll continue to have good roads.
All right. Thanks for the call, Richie. Miss May, good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, how you doing?
Doing well.
quite
How
well.
are you?
I'm okay. I'm happy to talk to you for the first of the year. Look, I agree with Richard. That's the same point I was coming. You see, when I was a child, I am 80 years old now. 80.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a child, my road that I'm living on in my community here, they used to have some ladies that right on the roadside break stone to fix the road.
Mm-hmm.
And the public work department would buy it from them, and that's what they use to fix road, not normal. And I never, Ricardo, and what's your name again?
Chevron.
I never see a pothole on my road. And you see the drain?
Mm-hmm.
They used to play hide and seek when they coming from school in the drain.
Were that big?
Right now, as I'm talking to you, I don't see no drain, just bush. It's overgrown with bush. So you see when the rain falls, the water just run on the road and no road.
Yeah.
The public work department used to hire some men to maintain the road. So you always see them with the hoe and the shovel. They clean the gutter and the drain. That's why we could have played hide and seek in the drain.
Mm-hmm.
And that was why the road was maintained. And every 2 weeks, they go to the public work department and collect a check. The government need to put back these men on the road to clean the gutter and the drain. Every 2 or 4 years, then get a backhoe charge so much money to clean the drain, and it grow up again. And that's it. And the rain fall and the water keep up. I was coming on the same road one time from Black River, and my dear, I thought it was a river. The water, no water going into the drain because the drain is blocked up. All the water on the road because it is to the road. So they need to put back these men on the road to maintain the road. And now, look here now, they're crushing the stone now. You know what the ladies they used to break with them hand and a hammer, something like a hammer they used to use. And now they have a machine to crush the stone. Why on earth they using mall and don't use the stone on the road?
That's something I'll ask. I'll ask the technical people
Yes,
why they changed from that.
The mall cannot, and now the climate change is not like in my days. The mall cannot stay. They need to put back the gravel on the road. That's what they used to do in public work department of the road. And they used to go back to that with the public work department people. They always get a check just like civil servants. You don't have no how much $1 million contract and this and that, you know?
Yeah.
They used to just work and get their salary like all the other civil servants. And that's why we used to have roads. Now I don't know what they have now. So they need to go back to the crushed stone and use it on the road and stop put them all on the road. Okay, that is my little piece.
I appreciate the call. Have a good one.
That's interesting though. The call, Richie said,
stone.
Don't use the stone. Use the mile.
No. Richie was saying the stone too.
You sure? Because I could have sure Richie said that it's because of the stone that causing the issue. You should use the mile instead.
Is that what he said? I thought he said that Parental Child said use rock stone.
Yeah, but he said use the mile instead. And now this lady is saying, no, the stone is better than the mile. I don't know anything about road construction to really weigh in on that, you know.
630-937-124, 618-8255 East Central.
Good evening. Even Mr. Ricardo, even Mr. Siobhan.
How are you, East Central?
Is a Richie advocate for stone. So apparently the stone is the good thing.
Yeah.
All right.
What's on your mind, East Central?
Well, I want big up to my good little friend, Miss Carleen Smith and Arlene Rowe. I haven't seen them in the chat within days now.
Arlene Rowe and who?
Miss Carleen Smith.
And Miss, okay.
Arlene Rowe. Yeah,
okay.
Man, I see them in the chat for a while. I chat every day in a Ricardo. Not sure, you know, see.
So why you not talk?
Yeah, what going on, Mr. Ricardo? Me a bad road, I live one, you know.
So you tell the MP?
Oh, the councillor, the new elected councillor has put in my road from the 15th of March 2024. But as since the rehabilitation and the road parks program now coming, I see that my road has been struck back off the list.
Oh.
Struck
And
back
that
off.
So you need to find out why.
No, other day when he hear me on the radio, them show me the book to see here. And I shift the people them who live down there. So see here, it was the first road put on the municipal corporation down in St. James on the 15th of March 2024. As soon as
So why was it struck off?
I don't know, Mr. Ricardo, because when me complain about the road them was selected, because Mr. Road was fixed last year, fixed this year again. And my road not fixed. So it raises concern in relation to the road rehabilitation and the selected road. And I know that there was.
So did you ask the councillor why it was struck off?
Yeah, I asked him, but it seemed as if me wouldn't get a definite answer at the present moment. But he has shown me the books and I look through the books and see the road them way. So my road struck off.
Okay.
And this is in relation to the current Reach and Spark program, or is this in relation to that they were just intending to fix the road?
Well, it did go on before Spark season announced. So it was a bad road before Spark season announced.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Essential, what else on your mind?
Oh, otherwise from that, we have little difficulty in terms of police relation and community police and police having dispute against police officers, because since recently we see the retired police who works in St. James, works with the municipal corporation, and some regular JCF now have a difficult on St. James Street in Montego Bay. And I haven't heard anything else otherwise from that. Probably IPRO is now dealing with the matter if it has reported to IPRO, but I know that the Mayor Vernon always on the show at times to time, so you can give you an update on that to see what's best coming from that altercation down by St. James Street in Montego Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, man, because him always love calling us, so he can give you an update as soon as him good hear and call tonight, man, because I know him is a man where love to iron out certain things, you understand?
All right.
So, him call. But otherwise, everything good, man. Oh.
All right. All the best for the new year, East Central.
And take care of yourself and take care of your family and all the best for me and the YouTubers. And take good care of yourself, YouTubers.
All right, my brother.
All the best to you too, sir.
Lloyd, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you?
Yes, I can't complain. I'm alive, not feeling any pain.
Good.
And I hope the best for you both.
Thank you.
Throughout this 2025 and onwards.
Thank you, Lloyd.
You know?
Same to you.
Thank you.
What's on your mind?
I think you say that the best administration of the PNP came before independence. And
best administration of the PNP came before independence.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
so that would have
You're
been
talking the premiership of Norman Manley.
Premiership, yes.
Yeah.
Norman Manley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why?
Although the PNP always have some kind of criticism that didn't really go well with the population. One of them was they classed Bustamante government before Norman as bully government because they were setting up the country, especially the Sandy Gully, to take water off the road. Now, Norman Manley came to power and he built some of the best roads Washington Boulevard, those roads, I think those roads would run for even 15 years without any major maintenance. And the next road that I know he built was one in the grill that is now named Norman Washington Boulevard. And why these roads stood up is because of the materials that were used to build those roads. Now, the reinforcement of PWD caused pothole to be fixed quickly. So therefore, if you had a few potholes, in less than no time, they would be fixed.
So you want better monitoring and maintenance?
Yes, but listen now, you know when all that break down, the time when a lot of people seems to be talking that was one of the greatest period in Jamaica in the 70s. Mind you, Michael implemented some good social program, but it is like the proverbial, you cow give some milk and then he turn around and kick over more sides. Because the destruction of the building and repair of roads and gullies reap its destruction in the McGregor gully scheme. It's people with research, the people then that got the contract to repair that McGregor gully were non-contractors, youngsters. Anybody can go and investigate that. And that caused the death of Tedogate because it seems like someone gave Mr. Ogilvy a hint because we didn't have where permanent secretaries would come out of their office and go and check work.
Yeah.
It was always the quantity surveyors that were responsible. So when Ted Ogilvy went and did this unusual sort of thing, it seems like somebody
wasn't happy about it.
Eh?
Somebody wasn't happy about it.
Yeah, it was so frightening.
Yes. But we have to run. We have to run. Leave, Lloyd. We have some others waiting. Thanks for the call, though. Happy New Year. 630-937-124-618-8255. Carl, good evening.
Evening, Ricardo.
Good evening.
Happy New Year, man.
Same to you.
Evening, Chef.
Evening.
It seems like Mr. Newman I try to campaign for People's National Party.
Or for his membership.
Mr. Newman, I am a transport owner. Mr. Newman, I am into politics. I'm 5 months away or 6 months away from politics. Mr. Newman, no government.
You're 6 months away from politics?
5 to 6 months away from a general election.
Oh, it's not 9.
And yeah, you're not going to.
No, man, no. Tell me you know, man. Tell me you know. So we're in the business of breaking news here. What do you say? 5 to 6 months?
Yeah.
Siobhan, do the maths quick. How when that's going to be? 5 to 6 months is when, Siobhan? That's when? About May? June? So it's June.
Anyhow,
Come on, man, Carl. No, man, no. Me ain't talk. Me ain't alone talk. No, no worry about books and Chevron and the listener. Just tell me. A June?
Ricardo.
No, you have to tell me. You have to tell me, man, Carl. I remember, so I have to put things in place, you know, for prepare yourself. We have to get Chevron, invest and them kind of things. And
when the boss come Monday, he will call him meeting with him. Don't worry yourself.
Oh, so you tell Cliff already? You tell
the boss. All right. Anyway.
Oh, you tell Cliff. So did Dr. Holness tell you? Oh, you know. Come on, man, Carl. Me here talk, man. Oh, you know.
Ricardo. Nobody without going into election 5 to 6 months from now and come with an increase of bus fare. It's a new man. Talk your foolishness. Go on, it's a new man.
Okay.
It's a new man. Nobody in a rock ship.
So the taxi man them now get a little increase because your election are keeping a June. Remember you tell me say a June, you know, so I'm going to say a June now, you know, Carl, you tell me say a June. It can't be May, because we have CXC. I think it's going to be May, but you could be June for true. And the budget is when, Javon?
That's usually March.
March. So you might write that could have June for true.
Anyhow, I don't know what's wrong with Mr. Newman, but Mr. Newman needs to go sit on one side.
Well, no, Carl, but no, he's no man, but he's advocating for his members.
Yes, Ricardo, but nobody shake a mango tree in our election like this.
Oh, everything have to settle. I miss that. Me understand that.
Yes. Mango tree this time of the year, Mr. Newman. Oh. So you can't make people feel uncomfortable and people are quarrel and all kind of things. So when Mr. Newman comes with rubbish foolishness,
I see.
Sit on one side, Mr. Newman. Unless a campaign, you want campaign for your opposition leader.
I see. So you don't shake the tree. Everything have to settle. Everybody have to happy.
People have to happy.
The YouTuber them must say you're coming like old fridge. It look like them know the election date too.
Anyhow, Mr. Ricardo.
Yes.
With the union, them have come up for discussion concerning.
That me I say, because that I go shake the tree in a call. I want whole heap of shaking that.
Civil servant.
Yes, man, I whole heap of shaking that for the tree. So how you going to manage that?
No, that easy. We have a government in office. Ricardo, me hear you and Shavana ask you some question last night.
I never me and Sanjay ask you.
Sanjay, we have a government in the office now.
Yeah.
We don't have a full Minister of Finance and a full government. We have a government.
And they're going to manage the process.
Of course, we have a government.
So that the tree don't shake and no man going to drop off.
We say we have a government.
But you also have a very vocal opposition.
I will tell you so.
I've been observing them since I've been at this job very closely. They're very vocal.
Yes. Ricardo, you can't just get up every day and tell us if you lock down nationwide. You don't come with a solution. So when you get up and you criticize everything, and for 4 years you can't put nothing on the table for nobody discuss it to find out where. You know, here I like B. Smith. I tell them, say, full time for them to put something. PMP like B. Smith. I tell them, say, them is all, like B. I must tell them, say, only out there criticizing. Yes. If you listen, even, you see last week, me mash up before a year did end. I mash up Nickel Philip. In come on a platform, I go tell you, say, he must go back to go think about how he must go deal with transport. That is rubbish. You know, come at this time, you can tell we say, yeah, go back, go think. You come and tell me, say, this is your idea.
Is that what he said? Is that the interview Shavon and I had with him? Is that what he said?
Well, go back, go listen.
Not quite.
I'm not sure that he did say at all.
But that's why I take him on. That's why I take him on and tell him, say, foolishness. Matter, you know, so if you come this time, come tell you, say, go think about something. If you come with the idea.
All right, but I want to ask you something else, Carl. Because I was talking to the analysts and they were saying, boy, as the situation is now, they think the standings of the parties is about neck and neck. You know, they say it's very uncertain as to what's going to happen. I mean, no you tell me, say, you think the Labour Party going to win the third term. But just, again, me and you talk now. You really think it's a runaway? You know, really think so the people?
No, it's not a runaway.
Okay. All right. Good. So, it's about how many seats?
We will take somebody. the government.
How
We're
many?
going to lose. We're going to lose.
That's
No,
a very
we can't tell you that.
that's a very sober assessment, Carl.
Hold on. So how many seats?
No. I will never tell you that.
Nah, tell me the number you're targeting. But you're
No,
targeting.
no.
You're targeting some seats though, to hold on to.
Yes, of course. Anybody with a target seat.
Mm.
Anybody with a target seat.
All right. What about in your parish, Clarendon? Think you ain't lose any of those?
No, I can't tell you that, my brother.
What about up in the northern belt?
Me know
Cause me know you're gonna tell me say the south lockdown. So let me go up at the northern belt. What about up there, sir?
We say we know, say you don't ask me about that.
So tell me now what gonna happen in another way. You don't tell me.
No. We all shall see.
All right.
Credit is due, Carl. I go visit my folks on Sangster Heights over Harvey Place just the other day on Christmas morning, and my God, the entire area paved over.
Road are fixed.
As Dr. Clark would say, camp it everywhere. I couldn't believe.
Is that in the south? That's in the southern.
Sorry, Robert Morgan's constituency. I
Oh,
actually had to call Robert and commend him. I was shocked to see just how much work was done.
Dev, you couldn't tell Ricardo if you take a drive out.
I have not been. I have not been there in a little while. I think I was there last in February. Yeah, so I should take a Okay.
You know, my two discussion tonight, I really want to hold with you.
Mm-hmm.
With the public sector, them is coming up now for a new contract.
Yes.
It's something to put on them. I think the government will come now. And he just said that we have to discuss it from whether we are going. In our first year, 6%, in our second year, 2% are versivisal. But the bigger part of the package must come to the first year before election. Everything must be well sweetened.
They want them happy. They want the public sector worker them happy.
Well, Carl, we still see how that works out, because I've never seen a wage you saying election coming in June.
Yeah.
I have never seen a wage negotiation be completed within 6 months.
Evan, we have a government. We continue to remind you, so we have a government. We have, if you look, Chef, we cannot buy bus. Look for the piece of road for down in Clarendon, you have to go to Mandeville. Every minute me get work, go that way, me just have to fly up go to Mandeville, free of cost. You want better than that? If I did borrow, we have to borrow the money to build that road. You think we could have drive on it free? With all toll light, just I show you green to go through.
But let me ask you something though, Carl, because you talk. I like the analogy you gave of the mango tree. That you don't want to shake the mango tree.
No, you can't shake.
But next week, there's a major case. Remember the IC case is still. I want big mango tree that Carl.
I know that you would have go there. There was a big mango tree last week, Friday, before Christmas.
Oh, true. I know man gonna
because
drop it
the
through.
PMP them did see to say. Paul Alluin did all go home. That's why you see.
No man gonna drop off of that tree for true.
That's why you see Jam come push out in rubbish same time the DPP win our case. So if you did anyone have to come with them all at that time, then I tell you say Paul Alluin go home. Right? It is illegal. Me book up one lawyer in one barber shop when know me. And he tell me that Paula go home and yard because it is illegal. Well, Paula is back in his face. Me call him 2 times and he don't answer his phone. When people tell you those things, they have a big sense. Every time you then lose it, you rub it in their face and ask them when Paula go home.
Carl, good evening. Who is next day now? 630-937-124-618-8255. Alric, good evening.
Good evening, guys. Ricardo.
Happy New Year, my friend. How are you?
Good day. I listen to you and I laugh. Because say no shape mango tree.
Yeah, no shape. Because say no mango tree now shake in the next 6 months.
I'm doing quite good. How are you doing?
But I enjoyed the new year. The flu did lick me down a couple of days. But 100 back, but me still have struggle with it. Man, I make it beat me.
Oh, hope you feel better soon, man.
Yeah, man. I fight with it. Two things worrying me.
Mm-hmm.
That statement by Jam the other day. Where did they get the information from?
Which statement?
The one that Carlos telling you that what they came out and where that they apologized for.
Oh, the clarification?
From the Auditor General's reports.
Mm-hmm.
Annual
Was
reports,
it in
to
the
be
report?
specific. From the Auditor General's annual reports over the last 11 years, to be specific.
Yes, and everything that happened over the last 11 years, what did they made it sound like when it happened? Was recently?
No, I don't know.
I'm fairly sure they made the quite
No,
the
man,
statement
they
that
made it
it's-
clear that it was over a period of time.
Yes.
The thing is, the narrative got away where people were saying that how much was it? 700? How much was it? No,
$3
$1
trillion.
trillion, right?
3 trillion.
Was missing. That became the
Yes.
narrative that the money
Yes,
was missing.
all right. And
right.
tell me something now.
Mhm.
Tell me something now. That narrative.
Oh, and just to be
something,
clear,
you know.
the money is not missing. Let me just be very clear about
Yes,
that.
but how many people heard the apology now and
Yes.
will say that
So-
it was a mistake? Because
So
if
that was the unfortunate thing about the whole matter. I think the
Ricardo
clarification.
Chevron, give me a little, just give me a couple. When sensational journalism like that comes out, in a time like now when the election is an election year, people are going to say, so much money missing. And when you apologize on a day like what happened now when Paula Llewellyn thing came to the fore, nobody now go hear the apology, man. Nobody knows that 1 out of 1,000 people are going to hear the apology.
Well, I was led to believe that apology was much to Jam's chagrin because it had Janet Calder's personal information on it, plastered all over social media. They made sure that it got quite good coverage.
Yes, several, but it got good coverage, but the average Jamaica man who not have time to go for social media. Don't believe
Yeah,
what them
I'll tell you
want
the
to
point.
do.
And I remember I was once told that information is sort of like feathers, right? Once you release it and it blows
Yeah,
out,
man, it
yeah,
just fly, man.
it's
It take
gone.
on wings.
Yeah, you can't.
The
Yeah.
second thing now, I am going to congratulate the police force, the government, and especially this commissioner. I've been listening in the last couple of days, and he needs commendation because they said even when the former commissioner who just retired was there, he was the driving force. Then a lot of the things that were implemented
Yes,
for
I think
us to
that's
get
what
this
Professor
result. And
Clayton
he's
was saying.
extremely bright.
Yes, he is.
If you read
He is a
his
strategist.
resume, you would be shocked. He's quite the bookish type. Definitely not cutting the mold as many of the previous commissioners are. He has the technical knowledge and the expertise, and you can see that he was picked because of where they want to take the JCF in the coming generations.
Yes, right, Trevor, because of all the people who were interviewed, he got the top job. And what I'm glad about, he has the full backing of the men under his command. And he's going to do a lot. But have the opposition party come out and made any comment about everybody is commenting on it and congratulating? Have the opposition party said anything?
Not
We haven't
to
seen it.
my knowledge.
Yeah, we haven't seen it.
As any of the people who used to beat down the police force and said this and said that, say anything positive?
We haven't
Can you
seen
guys tell me if you heard any of them?
No, we haven't.
Once I get eye of that, I will tell you.
Yeah, once
so
because
why are they
we've been
waiting?
reporting all the reactions to it, and so as we get them, we report them. But we haven't.
But
seen
why
anything.
have they waited so long?
I don't know.
Tell me the truth now. Why have they waited so long? They should be jumping on it early to give that impression, yes, that we're on board and we congratulate him and we are on board and we vote. Because 200 odd people dead less than last year is a big achievement as far as I'm concerned now. Very, very big achievement. And you know, it just, as I told you this morning, is election year. So let's see where it goes.
All right, Tariq.
And what I hope to see is that at 2025 the number goes down, because I don't know if there's been a period of time where we've had 3 consecutive years of declines in murders. Can you
Such
think?
significant declines. Yeah, certainly not such significant declines. Yeah. Young comrade, good evening.
Evening, sirs.
Happy New Year. How are you?
Yeah, man, same to you. I'm okay, man.
What's on your mind?
I'm a bit concerned about the economy. You know.
Yeah? What's the concern?
Well, it seems to me that we are in recession.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Based on?
Well, the last number that Statin gave was negative 3.5%. And there would not have been much change from the end of that quarter to the end of this quarter.
You mean back in
quarter
October?
ended. Huh?
You mean from back in October that would have
Yeah,
been
man.
for...
Yeah, man. But
Wasn't
the
it
quarter ended.
1.8%?
Go again?
Wasn't it 1.8% for the...
No, negative 3.5% was the number.
Put up Statin.
Oh,
From
yeah?
Statin. From Statin, yes.
For which quarter? The third or the fourth?
The third quarter. The fourth quarter hasn't come out as it.
So you mean the second quarter?
No, he's saying the third quarter. Contraction of 3.5%, he says. All right, while Siobhan pulls it up, yeah, continue.
Yeah, man. At the end of this quarter, we wouldn't have seen any growth either, because we have been consistently declining from about 2023. 2023 quarter 1 was 4.2, quarter 2 was 2.3, quarter 3 was 2.3, quarter 4 was 1.7. Quarter 1 of this year was 1.2. Quarter 2 was 0.8.
Well, I pulled up the Statin release, and it says second quarter 2024, April to June, and this was released in October 2024, which is the last GDP figure I see.
Released December 30th or 31st. I'm not sure which one of those dates, but it was released on one of those dates.
Well, this is the last one I see. This is the last one I see from Statin, and this is for October, and this is on Statin's website. Quarterly GDP, April to June 2024.
Yeah, man, there's one. That's researcher. The last one was in December. I don't remember if it was the 30th or the 31st. Was the last release from Statin.
As I said, I can only show you what I see on Statin's website.
No,
I found it. So it's see here, Shimon, 3.5% compared to the third quarter of 2023.
Okay, I don't see it on Statin's website. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So yeah, I see what you're talking about. Go on.
Yeah, man. So I'm very concerned. The BOJ has 2 bonds in the market right now for the government to assist in funding the budget. So I'm expecting a supplement before April, when the new budget is to be ready. I'm very concerned about the next budget that is coming. That is not going to be very easy to craft.
Well, I'll put it this way to you. Here's my response to you. I don't see the value, let me put it that way, in worrying about the budget. It will come, and then once it comes, then we can have the conversation. But worrying ahead of time, and just to read, based on what you just brought to our attention, real value added for the Jamaican economy declined by 3.5% in the third quarter of 2024 compared to the same period in 2023. That's what you're referring to, right?
Repeat that.
It's a December 31 release from Statin that you're referencing. Yeah. So found it. Yeah, so I'd say let's wait for the budget now.
Well, based on what I'm seeing, I'm not really seeing it being easy to be crafted. This budget is going to be a very difficult budget to craft.
Okay.
But the budget the budget that would be coming up in March. You're talking about the budget that's coming up in March, correct?
Yes, he's saying that's going to be a difficult budget for the finance minister to craft.
But we still would have 2 quarters between then and the upcoming budget? I mean, it becomes a matter of wait and see.
That's what I'm saying. There's no use worrying about it. No, it will come, and then when it comes, you can have the conversation in a more fulsome way.
Well, but at least I believe that we're already in a recession. February, the other number will come out. And I think the PIOJ has already put out a number, I think, between 1.5 and minus 2% that the economy will fall.
Well, the last PIOJ figure I recall would have been in relation to the December quarter. I don't know if they've put out anything in relation to what you'll be referring to now, which would be January to March.
So, no, man, would that be the quarter would end December?
Yes, but remember, the PIOJ, it does not look at, it looks as a quarter behind. So if what we're getting now are the December figures for statin, what we would get from the PIOJ in terms of the next projection would be after that. So we are going to get for what would be now the fourth quarter of 2024, which would be December going back. So that is what we're going to get that projection for. So that is what we're getting now is the third quarter of 2024. So we don't know what the figures would be for the end of 2024.
Well, I expect a next decline since we have been declining from.
So you expect 3 quarters of decline, which is entirely possible considering.
No, but we have been. The growth has been slowing from 2023.
I mean, 3 quarters of a decline is entirely possible considering what happened in July and Beryl, and we're still recovering from that.
Not only that, but we have been declining from before that.
Yes, there was a slowing momentum of growth going back before that, but that does not necessarily mean that we were heading for an economic recession. It just meant that growth was slowing. That means the momentum that we had from recovering from COVID-19 had slowed, and what we would normally have had would just be standard growth of between 1% going down, heading in, and then we got hit by Beryl and Raphael and other economic situations which put us in negative growth, in a contraction. So I don't know if what you're suggesting is that just because the economy's growth momentum was slowing, that was going to automatically mean that we were going to end up in negative figures. I don't know if that quite follows.
No, but at the end of the day, we never say anything that the government has been doing to increase growth or to move forward.
Is that your assessment?
We hear you, young comrade. We're out of time, but as I say, when the budget comes, happy to have the conversation with you at that time. All right, my brother?
Yeah, man.
All right, have a good one. Dana Davey, thank you so much. Andrew Glenn Anderson, pick up yourself, or editor Cara Powell, and the members of the newsroom, or friends on YouTube, or contributors or sponsors, and you, or valued listeners. Thank you so much for spending time with us this evening. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good evening.
It's undeniable that we should be together.
The true beauty of music is that it connects people. It carries a message. It speaks to you. It changes you.